Chapter 1150. On the bed, Ling Xixiu's eyes fluttered deliriously, her lips bright red and breath heavy, her delicate body limp and covered in glistening sweat beads, lying atop Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng's palm gently caressed the soft, delicate, snow-like skin of the beauty. Beside them, Lu Miaoge held Ling Xixiu's pale wrist, nourishing her meridians and dantian silently with the water of virtue technique. Moments later, Lu Changsheng softly asked Ling Zixiao, "Zixiao, what do you feel now?" Ling Zixiao hummed softly, quietly sensing the condition of her body. After a short while, her clear, water-like, beautiful eyes revealed a touch of surprise and delight. "My lord, I feel that the effects of the dragon roar physique have dissipated, forming a new benign effect. But the specific effects need to be gradually understood through cultivation." Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changsheng, her face filled with excitement and joy. This dragon roar physique had troubled her for too long. Even though Lu Changsheng had been suppressing it before, her cultivation was still intermittent, not daring to be too aggressive. Fearing that during cultivation, the dragon roar physique might cause some problems again. At this moment, the dragon roar physique had finally been thoroughly resolved. She felt like she was breaking free from shackles and cages, overwhelmed by indescribable joy and excitement. She was naturally talented, possessing a third-grade spirit root. Lu Changsheng resolving her dragon roar physique did not abolish it. Sar the Novel Fire. N.E. *T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Instead, using the dragon roar physique as a foundation, he reversed yin and yang to form a new spiritual body effect. Although this spiritual body effect was not as astonishing as the original dragon roar physique, it at least had a beneficial effect on her cultivation, no longer a negative one. In such a situation, Ling Zixiao felt confident about her future prospects of reaching core formation. "Congratulations, Sister Ling." Lu Miaoge looked at Ling Zixiu's somewhat pale and weak face, sincerely congratulating her. Having been together for so many years, she knew well how severely the other was affected by the dragon roar physique. If not for the dragon roar physique, with her talent, she would have reached the late stage of foundation establishment long ago. Moreover, Ling Zixiao had exceptional talent in the formation path, and if she had wished to join any faction, she was fully capable of reaching core formation solely through her efforts. "Zixiao, if you feel any discomfort during cultivation, you must tell me immediately." Lu Changsheng spoke gently to Ling Zixiao. Resolving the dragon roar physique this way was just his hypothesis, which he believed feasible. But it could not completely guarantee that there would be no issues. If there were problems, he would use the dragon invocation technique to directly tackle and resolve the dragon roar physique. Ling Zixiao nodded in response. "Zixiao, you still seem a bit weak. Let your husband continue to treat you." "Sister Miaoge, you've also worked hard." Instantly, the atmosphere within the cave mansion became lively with the essence of spring. 3 days later, Lu Changsheng and Lu Miaoge, along with their son, Lu Qingxian, and daughter, Lu Qingqi, came to Qingzhou Mountain to visit Lu Yuanding. "Changsheng, Miaoge, you are here. Grandfather, grandmother." Lu Yuanzhong, along with the new family head, came to greet Lu Changsheng and his wife. He had suffered severe injuries in his early years, and now appeared somewhat aged with white hair, like a man in his 50s. "Uncle, grandfather." Lu Changsheng and others nodded to Lu Yuanzhong. As for the new family head, they didn't pay much attention. Decades had passed, and there were fewer and fewer people familiar to Lu Changsheng in Qingzhou Mountain. The group arrived at a small courtyard in Qingzhou Valley. Lu Yuanding's face was weathered, his hair white. Seeing Lu Changsheng, Lu Miaoge, and their 2 grandchildren coming, his dull eyes immediately brightened up with divine light. Rising from the recliner with a somewhat hunched back, and exclaimed, "Changsheng, Miaoge, Xianer, you're here. Grandfather, grandfather." The 2 young children sensibly rushed forward to support their grandfather. "Father-in-law," Lu Changsheng called out, vaguely remembering the latter's appearance at the foot of Qingyun's Sek's mountain in the past. Unknowingly, the other had gone from a gentle and elegant middle-aged man to such a weathered old man. Father. Lu Miaoge went forward to support her own father, nourishing his body with Tai True water. Lu Yuanding had suffered many injuries in his early years. The fact he could live up to now was entirely due to lifespan extension pills and care by Lu Miaoge. After a while, Lu Yuanding cheerfully talked with his two grandchildren. During the conversation, he also showed concern for Lu Changsheng, Lu Miaoge, and asked about Lu Miaohuan, as well as Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu, who were far away in Yu country. However, after half an hour, Lu Yuanding became tired and needed a rest. Sigh. After staying a day in Qingzhu Mountain, Lu Changsheng then went to White Tiger Mountain, prepared to bring his daughter, Lu Lingyi, home. Once Ling Zixio's dragon roar physique was confirmed to be resolved without issues, he would take care of his daughter's dragon roar physique. After all, for a female cultivator, the dragon roar physique was always like a time bomb. Even though Lu Ling's dragon roar physique was a deficient physique, and Lu Changsheng could easily suppress it, it was still better to be cautious and resolve it early. For this reason, Lu Changsheng had always left his daughter's cultivation largely to its own over the years. However, upon arriving at White Tiger Mountain, he learned that his son Lu Ping'an had gone to Rui Prefecture, and his daughter Lu Lingyi had gone with him. Regarding this, he simply asked Lu Qingsong to pass a message to Lu Ping'an, telling him to bring Lu Lingyi back to Bai Lake Mountain after returning. Rui County City, Lu family. Although the Lu family was a newly risen clan in Rui Prefecture, thanks to the fame of the family patriarch, Lu Changsheng, it had now become the most prominent family power in the entire Rui Prefecture. At this moment, in front of the Lu family mansion, numerous Lu family disciples knelt down, being whipped. Pit-a-pat, pit-a-pat, pit-a-pat. The sound of whips swinging rose, accompanied by shrieks. Lu Ping'an, tall and majestic, with a face as stern as ice, watched this scene unfold. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1151. On his trip home, he inadvertently heard about instances of bullying and oppression within the family and immediately went to investigate. With the backing of the Rui Marquis Mansion, it didn't take long for him to find out what was happening and to become aware of the growing negative influence within the family. This made him extremely angry. The family had only been established for a few decades, but such situations had already arisen. The Lu family allows mediocrity and incompetence, but it absolutely does not allow anyone to rely on the family's power to commit wrongdoing outside. Many families fell into decline precisely because of a lack of discipline, with the descendants becoming arrogant and overbearing. It's true that behind Rui County's Lu family, there is the support of the Blue Lake Mountain Lu family. But if these perverse and evil tendencies aren't curbed in time, the entire family could be affected in the future, potentially even impacting Blue Lake Mountain. Big brother, I dare not do it again. I will never dare again. A young man's robe was torn from the whip's lashes, his back a bloody mess, as he screamed in pain. Not just him, there were others calling out to their uncle or grandfather. Even some had fainted from the pain. Yet the whipping continued unabated, with no mercy, causing the air to crackle with the sound, the flesh mangled. After all, the young man who seemed to be the one doing the whipping was not only an immortal, but also the eldest son of the Lu family. On such a large scale, and with such severity, who would dare to ask for leniency? Big brother. Lu Wuyu looked at this scene, his gaze shifting shamefully towards Lu Ping'an. Although he had relinquished the position of family head, as the first family head, he still held considerable power and authority within the family. The current situation was partly his responsibility as well. In the future, the Lu family inspector will report to the Marquis Mansion yearly about Lu residence matters. Our father is too busy to manage these, so, as the eldest son, it is my responsibility to oversee these affairs. Lu Pingon looked at his gray-haired younger brother and sighed slightly. He understood that his younger brother Lu Wuyu was getting older. The new family head, when dealing with some of the elders, especially those who came from Blue Lake Mountain, might find it challenging to be too strict. And it was precisely due to this that some unfavorable tendencies had begun to appear within the family. Uncle Hong, if Rui Marquis Mansion encounters such incidents again, please send someone to Blue Lake Mountain to notify me. Lu Pingon looked to the side at Hong, who was dressed in fine robes with gray hair. Although he disliked dealing with family affairs, he absolutely didn't want to watch his own family turn into what he loathed most when he was younger. Therefore, in addition to the family's own supervision, he also requested the monitoring by Rui Marquis Mansion. Don't worry, Your Excellency. I will surely have my family pay close attention to this matter. Hong Yi looked at the young man, standing tall and firm before him with a restrained and reverent tone. He was well aware that this eldest son of the Lu family was a famed Foundation establishment cultivator who had once repelled a veteran Foundation establishment mid-stage cultivator. But seeing the current form of Lu Pingon, he somewhat remembered how righteous the other party was in his youth. Decades later, there had been no change. Uncle Hong, please feel free to visit Blue Lake Mountain when you're free. Father often mentions you. Lu Pingon said aloud. Certainly, certainly. Hong Yi nodded in response. Naturally, he did not believe that Lu Chongqing talked much about him. But the fact that such a distinguished foundation-building great cultivator showed him such courtesy was still surprising. After everyone had received their lashings, Lu Pingon spoke gravely. After these people wake up, confine them all within the family, grounded for 10 years. If anyone dares to offend again, the consequences will be more than just confinement. In an instant, all the Lu family disciples fell silent, completely respectful in their response. After carrying out the family discipline, Lu Pingon also announced a few measures within the family. In addition to punishments and rewards, he made some adjustments to certain family matters. Although he was not interested in family affairs, it didn't mean he was ignorant. When he was young, his mother Lu Lanshu always intended to train him for the position of Lu residence family head. So by being immersed in it from a young age, he understood many principles. Moreover, he wasn't autocratic, adjusting things based on the situations brought forward by his brother Lu Wuyu, as well as Hong Yi and others from within the family. After handling all matters, he left Rui County City with his sister Lu Lingyi. With such a son overseeing and disciplining the family traditions will be upright. Hong Yi watched Lu Pingon depart, reflecting inwardly. Even though under his stewardship, Rui Marquis Mansion had developed rapidly thanks to the relationships with Blue Lake Mountain and expanded into an energy-refining family. The more it was so, the more worried he was treading on thin ice. He knew that once he passed away, if his children did not manage well, the family could plummet. Sarthanafire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. As a Foundation establishment cultivator, Lu Pingon, who was now in his 50s or 60s, was in his prime. With him overseeing, at least for the next 100 years, the Lu family would not face such issues. If only Xuanji had a middle-grade spiritual root. At this moment, Hong Yi thought of his son Hong Xuanji, sighing. He had sent his son to Blue Lake Mountain early on, and he had married Lu Changsheng's daughter Lu Caizhen. Now his son held a steward position in the Lu family, responsible for marketplace business, and there was a hope that before the age of 60, he might reach the peak of qi refining and attempt Foundation establishment. But his son was only of 7th grade spiritual root. Attempting Foundation establishment was utterly impossible. Even if he could ask Lu Chongsheng for a meridian protecting elixir and Foundation establishment spiritual objects with decades of savings, his son could still not succeed in Foundation establishment. Alas, thinking this, Hong Yi felt a surge of envy towards Lu Chongsheng. Not only was he highly reputable, but his wife Lu Miaoge was also renowned, comparable to a false core immortal. Among his children, there were also the 2 great Foundation establishment cultivators, Lu Pingon and Lu Qingxian. 60 years ago, Who could have imagined that a country boy would come so far? However, with this relationship, at least for 100 years after my death, the Hong family will be without worry. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1152. Hong Yi took a deep breath, convinced that befriending Lu Changsheng was the best decision he had made in his life. With this relationship with Lu Changsheng, at least the Hong family would not encounter any major problems for 100 years after his death. As for what happened after 100 years, that was no longer his concern. Congratulations to the host for the birth of 1,000 progeny. You have earned one advanced level lottery opportunity. That day, a system notification rang in the mind of Lu Changsheng. Just 1,000? Lu Changsheng was somewhat surprised and emotional upon seeing that he had over 1,000 grandchildren. Out of these 1,000 grandchildren, apart from a few from earlier years and those with spiritual roots, he had not met 90% of them, which truly embarrassed him. However, thinking that among these 1,000 grandchildren, only a little more than 40 possessed spiritual roots, Lu Changsheng sighed again. It must be known that these 40 or so were due to the children of by Lake Mountain gradually starting families and having children, which increased the probability. If it were just the secular offspring, the probability would be simply dismal. Through this, one could well perceive how difficult it is for mortals to give birth to offspring with spiritual roots. Advanced level lottery. Lu Changsheng took a deep breath, silently murmuring in his heart, looking forward to what he might receive in this draw. Ordinary lotteries had little chance of surprising him anymore. But an advanced level lottery, as long as he didn't draw some trash cultivation technique, would be of great help to him. Immediately, the advanced level wheel appeared. Glimmering with golden light, it stopped on the heavenly and earthly treasures reward segment under Lu Changsheng's gaze. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining Xianxia's spiritual vine. The reward has been issued to the system space. The host can inspect it at any time. Instantly, a verdant and lush vine emerged from the lottery wheel, coupled with a system notification sound. Xianxia's spiritual vine? A heaven and earth spiritual plant? Lu Changsheng's heart skipped a beat upon seeing the form of the reward, guessing it was a kind of heaven and earth spiritual plant. However, this spiritual plant appeared in the advanced level lottery and had the word Xiantian attached to it, which sounded quite extraordinary. Lu Changsheng's mental spirit stirred, gazing into the system space. Xiantian spiritual vine. Grade: 5th rank. Description: the Xiantian immortal vine is a companion spiritual vine that can inconspicuously gather nature's spiritual energy, grow for 10,000 years, and condense into Xiantian spirit fruit, gathering nature's spiritual energy. Lu Changsheng was astonished by the effects of the Xiantian spiritual vine. The notion of spiritual energy was elusive and hard to grasp. This Xiantian spiritual vine could actually inconspicuously gather nature's spiritual energy, which was astounding. But isn't this fruit too difficult to grow? It takes 10,000 years just to bear fruit. Lu Changsheng frowned slightly upon seeing it took 10,000 years for it to bear Xiantian spirit fruit. Even with the myriad spirits bottle, it would take him a century or two to make this Xiantian spiritual vine bear fruit. Though 100 or 2 years might be short for a 5th-rank spiritual vine, for Lu Changsheng, it sounded like an eternity. Wait, this Xiantian spiritual vine is a 5th-rank spirit plant. Does it mean I have to plant it on a 4th-order spirit vein? If that's the case, wouldn't it be a mere trifle? Lu Changsheng murmured to himself, feeling somewhat uncomfortable as he gazed at the Xiantian spiritual vine in front of him. Currently, even a 3rd-order spirit vein was not available at home, let alone thinking about a 4th-order spirit vein. Unless he turned to the myriad beasts mountain range upside down, nurturing a 4th-order spirit vein was simply impossible. However, as he was entangled in his thoughts, some information emerged from the Xiantian spiritual vine before his eyes. Sarge *, the novel F. Ire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changsheng instantly realized that this Xiantian spiritual vine was different from ordinary spiritual plants. It did not require spiritual energy at all. Once rooted in the earth's veins, it could form a spirit vein. If planted on top of a spirit vein, it could connect with the earth's veins, accelerate the growth of the spirit vein, and inconspicuously gather nature's spiritual energy, shielding the heavenly secrets. SSS, what a treasure indeed. Lu Changsheng's eyes lit up with the information, feeling overjoyed. Unexpectedly, this Xiantian spiritual vine not only didn't need a spirit vein, but could also accelerate the growth of one. Even without the effect of condensing Xiantian spirit fruit in 10,000 years. In his view, just accelerating the spirit vein's growth and gathering nature's spiritual energy inconspicuously made this Xiantian spiritual vine a top-tier spiritual object. The advanced level lottery, indeed, never disappoints me. Lu Changsheng exclaimed with a pleased face. He promptly extracted the Xiantian spiritual vine from the system space, eager to plant it. In an instant, a vine as green as jade appeared before Lu Changsheng. Had it not been for the system's introduction, he would have never guessed the vine before him to be a fifth-rank heaven and earth spiritual plant. It seemed quite simple and unadorned. However, after extracting the Xiantian spiritual vine, Lu Changsheng gained a more detailed understanding of it. Once the Xiantian spiritual vine took root, the accumulated nature's spiritual energy did not enhance a single person. Rather, it belonged to the spirit vein land in which it was planted, blessing all the cultivators there, contributing to the collective destiny. Nevertheless, carrying the Xiantian spiritual vine with him also had the effect of obfuscating heavenly secrets and subtly improving destiny. As for the Xiantian spirit fruit, it wasn't just an ordinary fruit, but a treasure that would form according to the spirit vein's conditions and the environment in which it grew. Once the fruit solidified, the Xiantian spiritual vine would wither and dissipate. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1153. After the fruit is condensed, will the vine wither and dissipate? Lu Changsheng looked at the Xiantian spiritual vine in front of him, a frown forming on his brow. He was just curious about the fruit that the Xiantian spiritual vine had condensed. But upon learning that the spiritual vine would wither away after condensing the spirit fruit, his interest waned considerably. Perhaps the Xiantian spirit fruit was even rarer. But for the time being, in his view, the effects of the Xiantian spiritual vine were more practical. Mount Sumeru. Lu Changsheng arrived at the summit of Blue Cloud Peak and asked Mount Sumeru to dig a tunnel at the peak to connect with the spirit vein area. Boom, boom, boom. A commotion arose on the summit of Blue Cloud Peak. Half a moment later, a tunnel was formed. Lu Changsheng passed through the tunnel and arrived at his family's spirit vein area, seeing the spiritual vein origin of Blue Cloud Peak. Go! Lu Changsheng placed the jade-like Xiantian spiritual vine atop the spirit vein. The vine glowed green as it spread and grew, rooting itself and climbing over the spirit vein, lush and exuding a pure and rich vitality. Apart from the intense vitality and its rampant growth, there was no significant difference from before. However, upon closer inspection, Lu Changsheng still noticed something extraordinary. The dense patterns on the vines seemed to be slowly flowing, intricate and profound, interwoven with truth and reason. Lu Changsheng calmly gazed at the Xiantian spiritual vine before him, as if he could see a mysterious pattern in it. All things in full display, bursting with life, flowers blooming like a splendid tapestry, green leaves about to drip, eventually withering and decaying, returning to the earth's origin, cycling endlessly the ebb and flow of years. After a long while, it is said that many techniques and abilities are realized by cultivators observing the fundamental nature of the world, Seems there's truth to that. Lu Changsheng sighed deeply, murmuring to himself. Realizing the patterns on the Xiantian spiritual vine were far from simple, evolving some intricate and profound rules and order. If he could grasp the principles and truths from it, perhaps he could comprehend a set of top-tier techniques and divine skills. And even without deciphering any techniques and abilities, he would still gain immensely from it. However, Lu Changsheng knew his own level of comprehension. It was also difficult for him to settle down and spend decades or even centuries to contemplate the rules and principles of the spiritual vine. Such pure spiritual energy. At this moment, Lu Changsheng noticed that within the thriving vitality of the Xiantian spiritual vine, a pure and rich spiritual energy was emanating. This spiritual energy was very pure and concentrated, having reached the third order of nature's spiritual energy, continuously nourishing his family's spirit vein. Through the origin spirit pupillary art, Lu Changsheng immediately saw that under the nourishment of the Xiantian spiritual vine's aura, his family's spirit vein was in a state of rapid growth. He estimated that in 50 to 60 years, it could autonomously ascend to the second-tier top-level spirit vein. For an ordinary family, for a spirit vein to be able to ascend from second-order superior to second-tier top-level in 50 to 60 years would be extremely fast. But to Lu Changsheng, could this growth that takes 50 to 60 years to reach second-tier top-level really be considered growth? It seems that for my spirit vein to advance, I still have to rely on myself. Otherwise, to depend on the Xiantian spiritual vine to upgrade the spirit vein to third rank would be an unknown number of years in the future. However, the higher the grade of the Biyun peak spiritual vein, the better the effect of the Xiantian spiritual vine, so I should really cultivate the spirit vein of Bai Lake Mountain properly. Lu Changsheng saw that the effects of the Xiantian spiritual vine were closely related to the spirit veins it rooted in. He planned to upgrade the Biyun peak spiritual vein to quasi-third order after his excursion to the Myriad Beasts mountain range. In this way, not only would the family spiritual energy greatly improve, but the effects of the Xiantian spiritual vine would also be enhanced. It's too bad I can't see the fortune situation. Lu Changsheng's eyes shimmered with purple luster as he continuously examined the Xiantian spiritual vine, but was unable to discern the effects of gathering the world's fortune. He only knew that after the spiritual vine rooted, it would gather the fortune of heaven and earth, thus blessing everyone on Blue Cloud Peak. Even this effect would radiate from Blue Cloud Peak to the entire Lake Mountain and even the surrounding area of Lake Mountain. Regardless, the Lu family disciples who lived long-term on Blue Cloud Peak would certainly benefit the most. After planting the Xiantian spiritual vine, Lu Changsheng stepped out of the tunnel and instructed Mount Sumeru to take care of the spiritual vine on a daily basis. Report to him immediately if there was any unexpected disturbance. If he was not around, then notify Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun, and Ling Zixiao. Yes, master, Mount Sumeru responded, its voice ethereal and pure, gentle and faint, sounding very pleasant. I wonder if Hong Lian knows about the Xiantian spiritual vine? Lu Changsheng pondered secretly, heading to Mount Sumeru, Cave Heaven, beside the Peachwood Spirit Womb, and called out to Hong Lian, Hong Lian, what is it you need, young master? Although Hong Lian was in a semi-sleeping state, but upon hearing Lu Changsheng's voice, she responded immediately. Have you ever heard of the Xiantian immortal vine? Lu Changsheng asked aloud. He learned through the system's introduction that his Xiantian spiritual vine was a companion vine of the Xiantian immortal vine, so he wanted to know more about this aspect. The Xiantian immortal vine? Hong Lian was shocked. She couldn't help but wonder if Lu Changsheng possessed a Xiantian immortal vine. After all, the young master often inquired about certain things from her. Search * the novel, fire. NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. These things seemed unrelated, but soon enough, she would see related items from Lu Changsheng. Young master, I have never heard about the Xiantian immortal vine either. But I have seen a saying, anything titled with Xiantian belongs to the level of an exceptionally rare treasure. Hong Lian's voice was ethereal and clear, saying so. Then do you have any understanding of such Xiantian treasures? Lu Changsheng raised an eyebrow, continuing to inquire. Regarding this, I also have no understanding, merely having heard a bit here and there, not sure if it's true. It is rumored that such treasures crowned with the name Xiantian are manifestations of the world's rules, containing part of the origin source, and possess the effect of suppressing one's fortune. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1154. There are also rumors that such Xiantian treasures are existences far beyond heavenly spirit treasures, and that only great vehicle true immortals can control them. Regardless, such Xiantian treasures are already beyond the grasp of those at the nascent soul transcendent level, let alone above the state of transformation into divinity, returning to the void, merging with the Tao. They are greatly attractive to great vehicle true immortals. Hong Lian spoke slowly. At the height of her power, she was indeed a nascent soul true lord. But she also only knew of the existence of the deity of transformation. As for those beyond the state of transformation into divinity, returning to the void, merging with the Tao, or reaching the great vehicle, she had never heard of them. These Xiantian treasures were also known through some ancient books and handbooks passed down from ancient times. Her understanding of them was partial, and she could not be certain of their authenticity. Far beyond heavenly spirit treasures, only the great vehicle true immortals can control. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng's brows slightly furrowed, feeling that his Xiantian spiritual vine might not be so rare and powerful. After all, the Xiantian spiritual vine is only 5th rank, and no matter how powerful, its potential should be limited. There may also be different levels among Xiantian treasures. For example, the Xiantian immortal vine is much rarer and more powerful. And the Xiantian spiritual vine is just an accompanying vine to the Xiantian immortal vine, belonging to the lowest level. Lu Changsheng guessed in his heart. He continued to ask, Hong Lian, do you know of any ways to observe Qi luck? Qi luck. After pondering for a moment, Hong Lian replied, Young master, personal Qi luck is elusive and hard to capture or observe. If it is about the fortune of a sect's power, those proficient in divination, extrapolation, and feng shui can discern the general state of Qi luck. After finishing, Hong Lian added with some uncertainty, perhaps there are some supreme treasures or pupil skill divine abilities that can observe Qi luck, but I'm not very clear about this aspect. Divination, extrapolation, feng shui, Lu Changsheng nodded, knowing that within the 100 arts of cultivation, there are professions such as diviner, life fate manipulator, feng shui master, etc., which subtly involve Qi luck and fortune. However, these professions are exceedingly rare. Artifact refiners, alchemists, formation masters, and talisman masters can be met with ease wherever one goes. But he had never seen practitioners of the aforementioned professions. What use is the Qi luck of a sect's power? Lu Changsheng continued to inquire. Saw the novel_fire at website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Regarding personal Qi luck, he was aware of effects like turning disaster into blessings and finding treasures upon stepping out of the door. But he didn't quite understand the collective Qi luck of a sect. It couldn't possibly mean that treasures would fall from the sky, right? The matter of Qi luck is extremely mysterious, with no clear definition. If a sect's Qi luck is abundant, then relatively speaking, it is easy for this sect to produce genius disciples. For example, some geniuses subconsciously choose to join such a sect, or an elder of the sect encounters a genius disciple, and so on. Under the care of a sect's Qi luck, its disciples may find it easier to break through realms, comprehend cultivation techniques, and reduce the incidence of heart demons and deviations during their cultivation. Or perhaps disciples who are already fortunate might intuitively make the right choices when encountering events outside, influenced by subtle intuition. Overall, the qi luck of a sect's power is not very noticeable on an individual, but on the whole, it quietly influences a positive development. Hong Lian's voice sounded ethereal and pleasant as she spoke slowly. I see. Lu Changsheng nodded slightly, roughly understanding that collective qi luck acts as a sort of overall enhancement buff. On an individual, it might have a minimal effect with no marked impact, adding just a touch of splendor. But when applied collectively, it brings many intangible and substantial benefits. Speaking of which, if the qi luck is good, does that mean if children are born on by Lake Mountain, would they be more likely to have spiritual roots and with better spiritual root talent? Lu Changsheng mused in his heart. The matter of giving birth is inherently greatly influenced by luck. If it is backed by the added bonus of qi luck, perhaps the quality of offspring in the family could rise a notch. Alas, it's a pity I can't see the effects of qi luck. Lu Changsheng sighed, hoping that one day he would acquire the skills of a diviner or feng shui master. In this way, he would be able to observe the qi luck of his family and determine their fortune and misfortune. All right, you rest well. Without asking further, Lu Changsheng went to accompany his wives and children at the Lu family mansion. A month later, Ling Zixiao told Lu Changsheng that there were no abnormalities in her cultivation process. This new spiritual body, in addition to providing a certain boost to the speed of cultivation, also has a nurturing effect on the physical body. Whether there are other effects, she herself is not clear. However, she speculated that this spiritual body should be considered a weakened version of the dragon roar physique and may slightly aid in breaking through realms. It's good that there are no issues. Lu Changsheng held his wife's hand and responded with a gentle voice. After checking Ling Zixiao's physical condition a few times, he went to find his daughter Lu Lingyi to resolve her dragon roar physique. Some time ago, Lu Pingon had already sent his daughter back and spoke to him about the matters of Rui Prefecture. Regarding the situation in Rui Prefecture, Lu Changsheng didn't comment much, only sighed, indicating that Lu Pingon had worked hard. The two of them came to Baishui Lake and immediately saw Lu Wangshu fishing with Lu Lingyi. To be precise, it was Lu Wangshu fishing, while Lu Lingyi was using a spear to catch fish. Seeing her own daughter with her pants rolled up, standing on windfire wheels, holding a fish spear, and constantly spearing fish, the normally gracefully poised Ling Zixiao was momentarily stiff. She didn't expect her daughter to be highly educated and reasonable, but at least she should have some Leda-like appearance, right? This manner, what will people think? Daddy, Mom, Father, Auntie. The two girls called out immediately upon seeing Lu Changsheng and Ling Zixiao. However, Lu Wangshu felt somewhat guilty upon seeing the look on her Auntie Ling's face. This auntie usually paid great attention to posture and appearance, acting in an orderly fashion, neither hasty nor slow, and was very elegant. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1155. Seeing her daughter Lu Lingyi like this, she was obviously somewhat unhappy. Haha, Xiaoa, Daddy has something to talk to you about. Lu Changsheng pretended not to see his wife's expression and called out to his daughter with a gentle voice. Then he took his daughter to Mount Sumeru, Cave Heaven, and fed her an elixir medicine, making her fall into a deep sleep. Inverting yin and yang, reversing the spirit-body origin, was an extremely painful process. Thus, Lu Changsheng had prepared the elixir medicine for his daughter long ago. Of course, it was because Lu Ling's condition wasn't severe and didn't require her cooperation. However, Lu Changsheng still called over Lu Miaoge, instructing her to watch over her and use Tai True water to nourish her daughter's body. Suddenly, under Ling Zixiao's somewhat anxious watch, Lu Changsheng began resolving his daughter's dragon roar physique. The process was very smooth, and Lu Lingyi was unconscious throughout and did not feel anything. After a long time, when Lu Lingyi woke up, she was stunned and somewhat bewildered, saying, "Daddy, Mommy, Annie, why did I fall asleep?" "Xiao, do you feel any discomfort?" Ling Zixiao immediately asked with concern. Lu Lingyi tilted her head, then looked at her fair and tender palms, clenched her fists, and spoke out. "Mom, I feel like my body is full of strength. I could kill a tiger with one punch." Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao's face stiffened. "Xiao should be fine now." Lu Changsheng touched his daughter's little head and said with a warm smile, "Xiao, didn't you want to learn powerful cultivation techniques? Rest well these next few days, and then Daddy will teach you." He, Mr. Lu, had encountered very few setbacks, one of which was teaching his daughter Lu Lingyi cultivation. Now that his daughter's dragon roar physique issue was resolved, and he himself had made a core formation breakthrough, he could fully utilize magical treasures. Therefore, he was ready to use the Cave Mystique treasure mirror to instruct his daughter in her cultivation. However, having just resolved his daughter's dragon roar physique, he was greatly depleted and needed to rest and recover. "Thank you, Daddy." Lu Lingyi immediately responded with joy upon hearing this. After chatting with his wife and daughter for a while, Lu Changsheng left the Mount Sumeru, Cave Heaven, and went next to the Xianxia spiritual vine to sit and meditate, recovering his mana. Even when he meditated normally, the spiritual energy of the entire Bai Lake Mountain would be affected. Now, with the Xianxia spiritual vine, this situation had improved. The spiritual energy exuding from a vine was pure and rich, comparable to a top-tier spiritual spring, enough for his meditative cultivation. However, such meditative cultivation would affect the spiritual vine's nourishment to the spirit vein. Now that Zi Xiao and Zai's issues are resolved, I can almost head to the Myriad Beast mountain range. Lu Changsheng thought to himself while sitting cross-legged. However, for this trip to the Myriad Beast mountain range, he intended to visit the Azure Phoenix Immortal City first, to deal with some of the spoils, and also to see if there were any materials for crafting his magical treasures. I wonder what the current situation in Azure Phoenix Immortal City is like. How is Fei Yu now? Lu Changsheng thought of what Lu Miaoyan had told him earlier, that there had been significant turnover and unrest in the Azure Phoenix Immortal City, and he couldn't help but think of his friend in the city. Azure Phoenix Immortal City. A year ago, a dramatic change took place in Azure Phoenix Immortal City. The lineage of the ruling Azure Phoenix Immortal had been purged. Their core interests and powers were completely taken over by other families, merchant associations, and sections. This purge was carried out swiftly and decisively, without causing too much turmoil in Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Even shortly after the reshuffle, with the disappearance of the Azure Phoenix Immortal, the previously unstable situation gradually stabilized. This led many loose cultivators who had left Azure Phoenix Immortal City to return to this sacred land for loose cultivators. At this very moment, within a dark prison cell of Azure Phoenix Immortal City, Taoist Li, why must you be so stubborn? Just tell us what happened with Azure Phoenix Immortal's discovery in the ruins of Myriad Beast Mountain Range. And Master White Peak will not only let you resume your position as the capital commandant, but is also willing to bestow numerous elixir medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures. A red-dressed lady said to the tall, disheveled man who was locked with chains through his shoulders, hung on a cross before her. The disheveled man didn't speak, his head slightly lowered. Were it not for his breathing, one might think he was already dead. Li Fiyu, Azure Phoenix Immortal, has already given up on the Immortal City's foundation and is fully seeking out a nascent soul opportunity. He will not return. Master White Peak has found a soul path secret treasure. Even if you don't volunteer the information, these matters will eventually be known by Master White Peak. So why do you persist, needlessly throwing away your future in life? The red-dressed lady looked at the man before her, speaking with an expression of frustration, as if scolding an obstinate child. Since Master White Peak has a soul path secret treasure, he can just use it to perform a soul search. Li Feiyu spoke in a weak and hoarse voice, his robe tattered and full of wounds, with blood-stained scars. Once such a soul path secret treasure is used to search the soul, even if you don't die, you will end up a demented fool. Why go through with this? Azure Phoenix, Immortal has been kind to you, and even the opportunities you found in the ruins were exchanged for it. Even Master Zhao and Master Su are willing to submit to Master White Peak. Being just a Foundation establishment cultivator, why remain so obstinately misguided? The red-dressed lady continued to speak, her tone mixed with reproach. Daoist Zhang, do you really think that by telling these things I will have a way out? That Master White Peak would spare my life? Li Feiyu raised his head slightly, and beneath his messy hair, his weary and aged face, devoid of any color, showed a hint of sarcasm. Upon hearing this, the red-dressed lady silently pondered for a long time before saying, Master White Peak is willing to swear a Dao hard oath. Li Feiyu just sneered and said no more. Seeing this, the red-dressed lady did not say anything further. She walked out of the prison, bowed to an old man outside with white hair, but a youthful face, a tall figure, and vibrant spirit, saying, Immortal Master, this person still refuses to disclose the matters regarding the ruins in Myriad Beasts mountain range. Humph! Seems this young man is certain his sea of consciousness has prohibitions, and this immortal master dare not search his soul recklessly. Master White Peak's dark and profound eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness upon hearing this. Enough, this immortal master understands. He gestured lightly to the red-dressed lady and then entered the prison cell. Sarthan Fire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1156 by Lake Mountain, Lu Family Mansion. Daddy, Lu Lingyi, with her twin buns, looked cute and adorable, gazing expectantly at her father. Don't rush, Lu Changsheng said with a smile, conjuring the cave mystique treasure mirror. He then grasped his daughter's tender little hand, forcing a drop of essence blood onto the mirror. The mirror swiftly absorbed the essence blood, and then its glowing surface shimmered with speckles of rosy light, blooming like a pure and flawless five-colored lotus. Xiao, do you remember the word Daddy told you just now? Lu Changsheng asked his daughter gently. Machem, I remember all of it. Lu Lingyi nodded firmly. Good. Mana surged within Lu Changsheng. The cave mystique treasure mirror dazzled brightly, its reflection enveloping Lu Lingyi. In an instant, Lu Lingyi felt dizzy, and she found herself in a pitch-black space. Daddy, it's so dark, Lu Lingyi cried out. Although she wasn't afraid of the dark, suddenly being in such a lightless, silent, and dark place still made her a bit scared. Chill. The next moment, she saw a figure of light appear in the darkness. Upon closer inspection, this figure of light actually looked exactly like her, cute and adorable with twin buns. Black Dragon Codex used Qi as the guide, observed the transformations of the true dragon, capable of enlarging and shrinking, ascending and drawing in. The figure of light began to cultivate the Black Dragon Codex, speaking to Lu Lingyi. Watching the figure of light, Lu Lingyi was momentarily stunned, but then, remembering her father's instructions, she concentrated her mental spirit to intently watch the figure cultivate. After the figure of light demonstrated once, it slowly overlapped with Lu Ling's form. In an instant, Lu Lingyi entered a mysterious state. It was as if someone was painstakingly teaching her the Black Dragon Codex, and she felt a strange familiarity with this cultivation technique. A serious expression emerged on her pretty little face as she cycled the technique following this mysterious sensation. Throughout the process, any slight mistake in the execution caused the figure to stop, point out the error, and then start again from the beginning. In this way, in the pitch-black space, the human form and the figure of light overlapped, tirelessly practicing the Black Dragon Codex. The technique was abstruse and profound, with many details in the cultivation process that Lu Lingyi didn't understand, causing her to make constant mistakes. But she wasn't disheartened, her little face full of seriousness. After each correction by the figure of light, she kept it in mind, ensuring not to repeat the same mistake. In the dark space where time seemed to stand still, Lu Lingyi continuously cycled the technique, guided by the figure of light. After an unknown amount of time, Lu Lingyi finally executed the Black Dragon Codex perfectly, without any errors, synchronizing with the figure of light. Sigh. Lu Changsheng, holding the cave mystique treasure mirror, watched his daughter, who was seated cross-legged, and exhaled a tired breath. Even with his core formation cultivation, sustaining such a top-grade magical treasure for a long time was not without its costs. Moreover, this treasure did not only consume mana, but also heavily drain the mental spirit. However, seeing his daughter mastering the technique, he felt the effort was worthwhile. Daddy. Moments later, Lu Lingyi, groggy as if waking from a dream, instinctively embraced Lu Changsheng before her. Daddy is here. Cradling his daughter, Lu Changsheng gently asked, Xiaohe, do you still remember the process of your recent cultivation? Daddy, I remember. Lu Lingyi nodded in response, and then demonstrated to Lu Changsheng. Though lacking the enhanced state provided by the cave mystique treasure mirror, there wasn't much of a problem overall. Not bad, that's wonderful. Lu Changsheng rubbed his daughter's little head and cheerfully said, Are you hungry? Daddy, I am hungry. Upon hearing this, Lu Lingyi immediately touched her flat belly and nodded her little head. Let's go. Daddy will take you for something delicious. With a slight lift of his hand, Lu Changsheng put away the cave mystique treasure mirror and spoke with a warm smile. Although his daughter didn't seem too bright, he still dearly loved and favored his obedient and innocent child. After temporarily resolving matters with his daughter Lu Lingyi, Lu Changsheng rested for half a month before preparing to head to the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Apart from mining spirit veins, he needed also to hunt a third-rank demon king. So Lu Changsheng did not plan to bring Ling Zixiao with him. After all, the Myriad Beasts mountain range was perilous. Once targeted by several demon kings, Lu Changsheng was confident he could escape alone. But bringing Ling Zixiao would significantly increase the risks. Zixiao, Sister Miaoga, am counting on you to look after things at home. I will return from the Myriad Beasts mountain range in as short as half a year or as long as 1 year. If anything arises, just crush this jade talisman, and I will rush back immediately. Lu Changsheng spoke to his wives, indicating all matters concerning their children's foundation establishment and dealing with caravans should wait for his return. Changsheng, please be very careful. Lord, do not worry. We will handle things at home. The two ladies said. However, knowing that Lu Changsheng was heading to the Myriad Beasts mountain range, they couldn't help but worry. After all, the perils of the Myriad Beasts mountain range were renowned throughout Jiang country, and even in multiple cultivation worlds. Rest assured, I am aware. Lu Changsheng held his wife's hand, smiling. After bidding farewell to his wife, Lu Changsheng discreetly left by Lake Mountain, steering the Starlight Plate towards the direction of the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Now that he had achieved core formation, he could fully utilize the Starlight Plate's capabilities. Whoosh, like a comet slicing through the sky, he entered the Nine Heavens Gang Wind. Start the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1157. No wonder nascent soul immortals are unbound and roam the world freely. If I travel at full speed now, I estimate that it will take half a month to reach the Myriad Beasts mountain range. When the time comes, it will be much more convenient to visit Qingshan and Qingzhou in Yu country, without the need to continuously transfer between spiritual vessels like before. Lu Changsheng, clad in a dark robe, his face valiant and majestic, stood tall and slender upon the starlight plate, exuding an aura as deep as the ocean and as stable as a mountain. Wind Thunderhound incoming. Lu Changsheng looked towards the direction of the Myriad Beast mountain range, his eyes slightly narrowing, whispering to himself. Although he was planning to visit Azure Phoenix Immortal City, his plan was to head to the Myriad Beast mountain range first to capture spirit veins and hunt the Demon King. After the busy work, he would go to Azure Phoenix Immortal City, where he could deal with the chaotic gains. At the Myriad Beast mountain range, the first stop, the first prey, naturally was the very Wind Thunderhound that had previously chased him. Hunting this Wind Thunderhound was not just to reclaim what happened before. There were rumors that the Wind Thunderhound possessed a trace of the ancient True Hound's bloodline, potentially at the Heaven rank. Besides needing the blood essence spirit light to awaken the Tai Chi soul body, Lu Changxing also needed the heavenly demon blood to cultivate the Brahma demon true saint technique. Although this true immortal level technique was extremely demanding, he would still choose dual cultivation if he could meet the conditions. After all, this technique was indeed powerful and overbearing in terms of fighting technique. Jin Kingdom, 5 Poisons Cult. Jiang Country, Tianyuan's Secret Realm. Nangong Meili, a stunningly enchanting beauty, wrapped in a purple silk dress, her slender heels clicking. Yes, this Tianyuan's Secret Realm is the legendary site of the cave mansion left by Tianyuan, true monarch. We received news that within this realm, not only there is an inheritance of Tianyuan true monarch and the heavenly origin precious lotus, but also a wordless stone steel. If a destined person can obtain a supreme opportunity from a steel, hence I want you to go to Jiang Country and verify this matter. CTH Novel Fire. Net asterisk website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. From above in the hall, a child with a face like beautiful jade and skin as smooth as lard, about 7 or 8 years old, wearing a silver crown hairpin and a purple-red dress, barefooted, spoke. Sect Hierarch, Meili is willing to go. Nangong Meili pondered for a moment, and then cupped her hands in a salute. Good. Hearing this, the leader of the 5 Poisons cult waved, and a jade token appeared, landing in front of Nangong Meili. Someone deliberately leaked this information, so apart from our 5 Poisons cult, other forces will also go. Be extra careful. Yes, Sect Hierarch. Nangong Meili caught the token and responded. After leaving the 5 Saint Hall, Nangong Meili looked at the jade token in her hand, her slender, beautiful eyes slightly narrowing, quietly muttering, Jiang Country, it's time to settle this grudge. She then conjured a jade shuttle, transforming into a divine rainbow and leaving the 5 Poisons cult. Immortal Spider Marketplace. In a magnificent palace, a 16 or 17-year-old, exquisitely beautiful girl in a purple dress, with trembling eyelashes, opened her eyes, shining like stars in azure waves, dazzlingly beautiful. Her delicate, pale hand held a jade token, exuding a purple glow. Mom's here. Her face lit up with a pure and lovely smile as she stood and walked out of the palace. Stepping out, she saw a woman resembling her in features by 7 or 80%, but with an extremely beautiful, enchanting, and alluring appearance looking tenderly at her. Mom! Nangong Yao Yao joyfully called out and dove into the woman's curvaceous embrace, affectionately nestling her small head against her. You've grown so much, yet you still act like a child. Nangong Meili looked at her daughter in her arms, the long Danfeng eyes radiating maternal warmth, her mouth curving into a smile, softly spoke. Yao Yao will always be a little child in front of Mom. Nangong Yao Yao's starry eyes shimmered, her face innocent and utterly adorable. Where's your sister, Xiaochan? Nangong Meili gently stroked her daughter's flowing, soft hair as she asked. At this moment, her entire demeanor lacked any trace of enchantment or seduction. Sister Xiaochan is cultivating. Mom, what brings you to the marketplace? Is there something? Nangong Yao Yao, linking arms with her mother, snuggled up to her shoulder, her voice joyful. There's a mission from the sect. Mom needs to make a long trip, so she came to see Yao Yao. Nangong mealy looked at her daughter, tracing bits of a familiar yet distant outline in her brows. She thought to herself, this trip to Jiang country, for the sake of her daughter and the past affair with Misty Sky Bead, as long as the other party cooperates and surrenders the immortal golden core opportunity. Mom just returned from Heartless Ridge. How is there another mission? Nangong Yao Yao, upon hearing this, instantly pouted her soft lips, feeling somewhat aggrieved. This task won't take long. I will return once I'm done. Nangong Mealy's heart softened, a reluctant tone in her voice. While they talked, Meng Xiaochan hurried over. Hearing her master was going far, instructing her to take good care of Nangong Yao Yao, her heart suddenly thumped, her mind in turmoil, guessing her master's purpose. After all, the master had just returned from Heartless Ridge. Where else would there be a task now? This trip afar was very likely aimed at going to Jiang country, seeking Lu Lang. Although she had anticipated this day, she couldn't help but worry, her thoughts in disarray. Meng Xiaochan occasionally looked at Nangong Yao Yao, considering whether to disclose the matter about Lu Changsheng. Maybe the master, considering Yao Yao's sake, would let Lu Lang off. Sister Xiaochan, what's wrong? Nangong Yao Yao, noticing Meng Xiaocan's frequent glances and beaming smile, asked. Xiaochan, your master knows your situation. Just take good care of Yao Yao. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1158. Nangong merely seemed to guess what Xiaochan was thinking and said lightly. This disciple has been deeply affected by the Lockhart goo, and even the Phoenix goo cannot solve it. So to solve it, not only does the emotional threads of the Lockhart goo need to be actively released, but she also needs to come out of it on her own. Yes, master. Upon hearing this, Meng Xiaochan felt relieved and roughly understood the meaning of her master's words. She would take good care of Nangong Yao Yao, and, in return, the other party would spare Lu Lang as a favor to Yao Yao, without going to extremes. Jiang country, Myriad Beasts mountain range. Where did this wind thunder hound come from? After arriving at the Myriad Beasts mountain range, Lu Changsheng suddenly realized a problem. It was previously his commotion that led the wind thunder hound to actively pursue him to kill. So, he wasn't sure exactly where this wind thunder hound's lair was. This is a bit embarrassing. Lu Changsheng, looking upon the towering, undulating mountain ranges of the vast Myriad Beasts mountain range, suddenly felt as if he was drawing his sword but lost in direction. Forget it, they'll start by digging up the spirit vein. Lu Changsheng decided to extract the spirit vein first before beginning to hunt the Demon King. After all, once he takes action, it will be difficult to focus on mining the spirit vein quietly afterward. Moreover, during this process, the Wind Thunder Hound might make an appearance. Immediately, Lu Changsheng entered the mountain range with familiarity. He then released the Thousand Faces Puppet Fox and the Seeking Spirit Mouse to start searching for the spirit vein. Having now achieved core formation, Lu Changsheng was much bolder than before, venturing deep into the belly of the Myriad Beasts mountain range. It must be said, this Myriad Beasts mountain range was simply full of treasures. Upon reaching the deep interior, Lu Changsheng encountered a top-tier second-rank great demon, and after killing it, not only did he obtain a special monster core, but he also found several rare spiritual medicines in its cave. Following that, Lu Changsheng set up a simple small reversed 5-elements array, had the Thousand Faces Puppet Fox keep watch, and began extracting the spiritual vein origin. Roar, that day, just as Lu Changsheng killed a top-tier second-rank great demon and was preparing to dig the spirit vein, he suddenly heard a roar like thunder, rolling forcefully. This is the sound of the Wind Thunder Hound. Lu Changsheng paused, immediately recognizing it as the sound of the Wind Thunder Hound. However, judging from the sound and furor, it was far from his location and not directed at him. Could it be that other cultivators or demon beasts are confronting the Wind Thunderhound. Lu Changsheng frowned slightly, stepped out of the cave, and gazed towards the distant sky dome. He saw in the far sky two overwhelming and terrifying energies surging, causing the heavens and earth to echo with thunders like muffled roars. It's indeed the Wind Thunderhound, and that's a human clan cultivator. Lu Changsheng's eyes shifted with yin yang qi, spotting a fierce beast perched in the sky dome. With a massive body several meters long, a head resembling both a lion and a tiger, terrifyingly ferocious, with a pair of purple-green wings edged in gold on its back. It was charged with demonic power, wings unfurling amidst roiling winds and thunder, stirring up a sky-covering tempest of thunder, exerting a devastating pressure of destruction. And fighting the Wind Thunderhound was a human figure. Whether it was a man or a woman, Lu Changsheng couldn't tell due to the distance. But it was clear the person was also a nascent soul immortal. Otherwise, they couldn't possibly contend with the Wind Thunderhound. At once, aura light flowed around Lu Changsheng, and his fate-defying robe shimmered with an invisible luster, concealing his entire existence as if camouflaged within the void, as he flew toward the direction of the Wind Thunderhound. Since his target appeared, he naturally would not let it go. Moreover, this was also an opportunity to gauge the combat abilities of the Wind Thunderhound in this person, roughly estimating the actual strength of a third-ranked Demon King and a nascent soul immortal. Ia the Novelier. Any website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1159. Lu Changsheng's figure seemed to merge with the void, arriving just outside the battle area of the Wind Thunderhound. From this distance, he could clearly sense the aura of one person and one beast in the air. This Wind Thunderhound should be a third-rank early-stage Demon King. As for the person confronting the Wind Thunderhound, he was a burly, stout man. His face was fierce, his eyes like a tiger's, clad in a tiger skin cloak that gave him a wild and domineering air, with a cultivation level probably at the initial stage of core formation. Human clan cultivators, you have disturbed my rest time and again. Do you really think I'm so easily provoked? The Wind Thunderhound looked at the burly man in front of him, speaking human language with a voice deep and resounding, like rolling thunder. As soon as demon beasts break through to the third rank, they can refine the throat bone to speak human language. Even some demon beasts can transform into human form at the third rank. However, generally, the higher the bloodline grade of the demon beast, the more difficult it is to transform. Therefore, Lu Changsheng was not surprised that the Wind Thunderhound could talk. I have come here this time wishing to borrow your thunderstorm crystal. The burly man spoke, his voice rough and powerful, full of a wild nature. Thunderstorm crystal? You disturb my rest time and again, hunt down my descendants, and still want to borrow the thunderstorm crystal? Leave the myriad beasts mountain range immediately. The voice of the Wind Thunderhound boomed like thunder, unleashing gusts of wind, making numerous demon beasts and cultivators in the mountain range shiver in fear. King Hound, I've come with sincerity. Here is a vial of thunder juice. The burly man, though his voice was rough and domineering, his words were not forceful, holding a purple jade vial in his hand. Thunder juice? Not interested. Leave the myriad beasts mountain range now. The Wind Thunderhound, with pupils flashing purple lightning, gazed at the burly man and growled. In that case, I will have to take it by force. Seeing how inflexible the Wind Thunderhound was, the burly man too became somewhat angered. He was a respected, nascent soul immortal, who sincerely came to trade, yet the other side was being so arrogant and disrespectful. Ha ha! You cultivators of the human race are so shameless. If you want to fight, why bother with nonsense? The Wind Thunderhound laughed loudly, then opened his vast mouth with sharp fangs, letting out a fierce, brisk, intense wave of roaring sound. These sound waves were like thunderclaps rolling, hurricanes sweeping, forming concentric circles, tearing apart the void, aiming straight for the burly man. Heaven and earth spin. The burly man with a circular great blade in hand, gripped with both hands, suddenly slashed forward, creating a trail of crimson-red energy, tearing apart the sky dome, ripping the incoming thunderous wind. At the same time, roar! Without knowing when, behind the burly man appeared a huge, fiendish white tiger with wings. This white tiger, although not as formidable as the Wind Thunderhound, was also a third-rank demon beast, with a ferocious might, charging towards the Wind Thunderhound. Boom, boom, boom. The Wind Thunderhound roared furiously, with wind and thunder surging around its body, forming a domain that seemed to annihilate everything. A pair of wings stretched out, creating tornadoes filled with lightning arcs on both sides, intimidatingly powerful. No wonder this man dares to come to the Myriad Beast mountain range to trouble this Wind Thunderhound, having a third-ranked demon beast with him. But this Wind Thunderhound is really something. It might look like just a third-rank early stage, but its power, cultivators of the same rank, are no match. This burly man dares to come, also relying on a third-ranked demon beast. Lu Changsheng watched the battle between the Wind Thunderhound and the burly man in the sky, silently pondering. This clash, Lu Changsheng couldn't tell who would win or lose momentarily. However, since the burly man dared to come looking for trouble with the Wind Thunderhound, he probably was quite confident. How about I intervene when they're almost evenly matched and snag ahead? Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly, contemplating in his mind. His main goal on this trip was the Wind Thunderhound. If the demon beast is snatched by someone else, wouldn't his trip be in vain? However, in his view, unless this burly man has some other tricks up his sleeve, it would be difficult to slay the Wind Thunderhound. Lu Changsheng did not rush to act, his figure hidden in the void, quietly watching the struggle between the two sides. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, three mighty waves of mana continuously collided, creating waves of battle aftershocks, terrifying and forming a domain, almost causing the void to collapse. If not for Lu Changsheng being at the core formation cultivation and wearing a fate-defying robe, he wouldn't be able to watch the battle from this close. As the two sides continued to clash, Lu Changsheng gained a general understanding of the strength of one man and two beasts. The power of the Wind Thunderhound is undoubtedly the strongest. Not only is his mana offensive surging and fierce, his physical body is also immensely strong. Neither the burly man nor his spiritual beast dared to confront the Wind Thunderhound head-on. However, this burly man is indeed remarkable, well-coordinated with his spiritual beast White Tiger, and skilled in combined attack techniques. In the face of a siege by one man and one beast, the Wind Thunderhound also felt extremely frustrated, struggling to seriously hurt both. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, three forces of mana constantly clashed, light overwhelming the sky dome, blasting the spaces, devastating living beings, leaving the area below the Myriad Beasts mountain range in ruins. Does this man not fear at all that other demon kings might come? Lu Changsheng watched the sky, eyebrows slightly furrowed. His biggest concern about coming to the Myriad Beast mountain range had been encountering a demon king and luring others. But now, this burly man has been battling the Wind Thunderhound for so long, and yet no other demon kings have shown up. If that's the case, it will be much less difficult. Lu Changsheng stroked his chin, thinking silently. Human, you still have time to retreat now. Otherwise, I will definitely make you pay a heavy price. Xianxia the Nelfer. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1160. Wind Thunderhound, under the siege of the burly man, has grown impatient and roared chillingly. Just hand over the thunderstorm crystal, and he'll leave. The burly man, too, was exhausted and spoke in a deep tone. Damn it, I thought you dared to trouble the wind thunderhound because you had some trump card or technique. It turns out you just wanted to persistently entangle until the opponent has no choice but to hand over the item. Lu Changsheng looked at the burly man in the sky, somewhat speechlessly. However, he thought it was normal, at this level of strength, to truly fight to the death and determine the winner. A price must be paid. Even a minor injury or damage to magical treasures would require a lot of time, even years or decades, to recover. Therefore, under the situation of absolute necessity, no nascent soul immortal would fight with all their might. Since you refuse to recognize what's good for you, this king shall grant your wish. Wind Thunder Hound roared to the heavens, and instantly, its Boda's purple patterns moved like purple thunder dragons, its aura climbing dramatically, like a barbaric, fierce beast awakening. Boom, 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 boom. The wild wind swept across, the sky filled with dark clouds, and with flashes of lightning and thunder, a thick purple lightning column, like a giant python, violently struck down. Roar, roar, roar. The Wind Thunder Hound continued to roar, as if it made the stars in heaven and earth shake, creating tornadoes all around that, together with the lightning column, sealed the heavens and earth, sweeping towards the burly man and a third-rank white tiger. The wild and tyrannical aura was incredibly terrifying, completely drowning this piece of heaven and earth, as if it were the end of the world. At a distance, Lu Changsheng, under this indiscriminately fierce aura, had to fully run his fate-defying robe, the yin-yang mysterious divine light flowing, to prevent any leakage of his presence. Tiger Divine Transformation. The burly man, with a solemn expression, made a gesture incantation. His whole Boda's bones crackling loudly, he was wrapped by the phantom of a white tiger. Suddenly, the spiritual beast white tiger roared at him and merged into one with the white tiger phantom behind him in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. The burly man's aura of mana instantly climbed dramatically, erupting with the magical power and physical strength of a mid-nascent soul stage. His physique also growing, reaching a height of several meters and becoming covered in white fur, like a giant bear. Is this the unification technique? Lu Changsheng, seeing this technique, was somewhat surprised. He had just noticed that this burly man was proficient in beast-taming techniques and was very compatible with the spiritual beast. He didn't expect the other party could merge with the spiritual beast. He had heard from Hong Lian that to achieve this step, not only must the cultivator and the spiritual beast be spiritually compatible, but the spiritual beast must also cultivate corresponding techniques. Could this person be a nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect? Lu Changsheng speculated in his heart. There are not many nascent soul cultivators in Jiang country. Being close to the spirit-taming sect, and with this man's techniques related to beast-taming, Lu Changsheng instantly speculated. Boom, boom, boom. In the Sky Dome, both sides unleashed their trump cards, going all out. The terrifying forces collided, and the shockwaves produced were like 9-day thunderclaps, making the heavens and earth flicker unpredictably. The terrifying onslaught instantly whipped up endless aftershocks, wildly ravaging everything, one layer stronger than the last, submerging everything in its path. Rumble, rumble. After a long while, the energy fluctuations in the Sky Dome dissipated quite a bit, revealing the Wind Thunder Hound's massive body with a crimson wound, bleeding profusely. CTH Novel Fire. Net Asterisk website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. And the burly, giant man, resembling a giant bear, had multiple charred areas on his body. Human, you deserve to die. Wind Thunder Hound's pupils, emitting a purple sheen, were filled with murderous intent, hideously growling. King of the Hound, I told you I just want the thunderstorm crystal. The voice of the burly man, now like the roar of a white tiger, rolled thunderously, echoing between heaven and earth. But Lu Changsheng could hear that the man's voice was much weaker and knew that it was very difficult for this person to kill the Wind Thunderhound with such methods. If this is the extent of your strength, then this peach I shall pluck. Lu Changsheng watched this scene, his expression calm and indifferent. 9 treasures: Rui bone, essence, energy, spirit. Boom! Breastbone runes interwove, erupting a brilliant divine light, making his physical body, mana, and divine sense roar like a tsunami. In an instant, Lu Changsheng's figure seemed to stretch slightly, his cultivation advancing from the first layer to the second layer of golden core. But did not stop there. 3rd layer of golden core. 4th layer of golden core. 5th layer of golden core. Who? Above in the sky dome, the bear-like burly man immediately looked in Lu Changsheng's direction and shouted out. It was astonishing that he hadn't noticed someone hiding in the shadows during the battle. Lu Changsheng remained silent. His Qi Ocean Core and Yin-Yang Great Path Golden Core trembled, running at full power, rising a bright glow that made the golden core's mana roar like a true dragon. Yin-Yang Qi Grasp. A mysterious yin-yang qi surged out from the top of Lu Changsheng's head, shooting into the clouds, and in a blink formed a 100-zhong great hand with flowing yin-yang, slightly curling its massive fingers. This grand and awe-inspiring palm pressed down, bearing down on Wind Thunderhound. Roar! Seeing this, Wind Thunderhound screamed, its wind and thunder wildly surging, forming a tyrannical and dominating field. Boom, boom, boom. The day-darkening big handprint directly suppressed the wind and thunder field, and then grasped the massive body of the Wind Thunderhound in its hand, dimming Wind Thunderhound's winds and thunders as it struggled and roared, but couldn't escape the firm grip of the handprint. This. The nearby bear-like burly man, seeing this, was completely dumbfounded, as if he had seen a ghost. It should be noted this is the 3rd rank Demon King, Wind Thunderhound. Even if he exerted all his strength and used the unification technique, he could only suppress Wind Thunderhound. Without paying a heavy price, he couldn't possibly kill it. As for capturing it so easily, it was even more impossible. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1161. But at this moment, this man managed to suppress the Wind Thunderhound with just a single move. What kind of power, what kind of divine skills? Spirit-taming sect's Venerable Wuxia has seen the senior. He immediately adopted a respectful demeanor, cupping one fist in the other hand towards Lu Changsheng and reported his affiliation. There are only so many nascent soul immortals in Jiang country cultivation realm, and he had never seen Lu Changsheng before. The appearance of an unknown nascent soul immortal in front of him, especially one who suppressed the Wind Thunderhound with a divine skill, truly made him anxious, unsure if Lu Changsheng would take action against him. Therefore, by announcing his sect, he signified that if anything happened to him, the spirit-taming sect would be immediately informed and come to his aid. Spirit-taming sect, roaring true person. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng thought to himself that the other indeed was a nascent soul immortal from the spirit-taming sect. He, clad in a mystic robe, with an expression calm and indifferent, said lightly, "This Wind Thunderhound, I shall keep it." The words were plain and simple, yet filled with an undeniable authority and dominance. For this Wind Thunderhound to catch the eye of the senior, it is its good fortune. Venerable Wuxia's demeanor was extremely humble. Fine. Lu Changsheng slightly nodded, lifted his palm gently, and performed a gesture incantation. Instantly, yin-yang energies swirled across the sky, and a clearly defined gigantic hand, like mist, enveloped and submerged the Wind Thunderhound, causing it to continuously wail and roar, weakening in spirit. A moment later, the giant hand began to shrink, gradually turning into a fist-sized ball flowing with yin-yang energies, spinning in the air before flying into Lu Changsheng's hand. This yin-yang qi grasp, as a capturing divine skill, naturally had the power to bind and restrain. However, such restraint greatly consumed mana, and it required the divine skill to be cultivated to a highly profound degree before it could be executed. Had the Wind Thunder Hound not been injured just now, even if Lu Changsheng had boosted his cultivation and mana to the middle stage of nascent soul through the 9 treasures Rui Bone, he wouldn't have been able to easily capture it. Golden Core true person. This man must be a great cultivator of the Golden Core. Venerable Wuxia, beholding such a technique, was left with a dry throat and a trembling mental spirit. Xianxia the Oval Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. He secretly thought that if Lu Changsheng took a trip to the Myriad Beasts mountain range, who knows how many demon kings would be doomed. Who exactly is this man? And how could such a golden core true person appear in Jiang country cultivation realm? Lu Changsheng, observing the yin-yang small ball in his hand that trembled and vibrated constantly, surged mana through it, and with a fierce grip, he quelled the Wind Thunder Hound within. Then, turning towards the venerable Wuxia in front of him, he asked, "Since you're a cultivator from the spirit-taming sect, do you have a map of the Myriad Beast mountain range and information on the Demon Kings?" He had not known the exact location of the Wind Thunder Hound earlier, and thus was unaware of the situations of other Demon Kings. Since the spirit-taming sect bordered the Myriad Beast mountain range and guarded it all year round, they were presumably very familiar with the situation here. "Naturally, I have it. Please wait a moment, Senior." Venerable Wuxia immediately said and took out 2 jade slips from his storage ring, handing them over to Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng received the jade slips and probed them with his divine sense. He saw that inside was a map of Myriad Beasts mountain ranges terrain, clearly marked with the mountain ranges trends and information on the Demon Kings. Although it did not encompass all the details of the Myriad Beasts mountain range, it recorded the situations of Demon Kings within 10,000 miles. The other jade slip contained detailed information on many Demon Kings in the Myriad Beasts mountain range. With this map, hunting Demon Kings will be much simpler. A hint of a smile appeared in Lu Changsheng's eyes. Then he said to Venerable Wuxia, "I heard that you were looking for thunderstorm crystals from this Wind Thunderhound. Since that is the case, you shall accompany me to its nest, and if we find any thunderstorm crystals, they will serve as your reward." Lu Changsheng spoke. He might not be an utterly benevolent man, but he wasn't a villain either. Since this Venerable Wuxia was so tactful, it wasn't necessary to resort to killing. Moreover, being from the spirit-taming sect, should he kill him, or should there be any complications, attracting the attention of the spirit-taming sect would be very troublesome. Better to create a good karma and simply send the other party away with a minor rebuke. "Many thanks, Senior." Venerable Wuxia was overjoyed upon hearing this, and immediately paid his respects with a bow. He then led Lu Changsheng to the cave of the Wind Thunderhound. There were also several second-order great demons in the cave. But sensing the demon beast aura oozing from Venerable Wuxia's body, they immediately became trembling with fear. The suppression of bloodline rank among demon beasts was extremely severe. Even though Venerable Wuxia's third-order spirit beast bloodline rank was not high, at most an earth-grade bloodline, it was enough to leave these second-order great demons with no will to resist. This is a third-order spirit vein. Upon entering the cave, Lu Changsheng immediately sensed a small third-order spirit vein beneath the mountain where the Wind Thunderhound resided, causing a thrill to surge in his heart. The cave of Wind Thunderhound was immensely spacious, with many spirit ores and crystal stones embedded in the walls, and many rare spiritual medicines grown as well. Once demon beasts reach second order, they possess a certain spiritual intelligence. The intelligence of a third-rank demon king is no less than that of humans, knowing to collect heavenly and earthly treasures. Thus, the harvest from hunting a third-rank demon king is incredibly lucrative. As the two of them ventured deeper, they suddenly felt a wild and overwhelming aura. "This is Thunder Tribulation Lake." Lu Changsheng instantly saw a body of water deep within the cave. The lake was about half an acre in size, shrouded with layers of lightning, with the occasional bubbles emerging. When these burst, they released a wisp of a violent dark purple aura. This Thunder Tribulation Lake has reached third order. If one were to spend time and effort, it is estimated that every 100 years or so, one could refine a core formation spiritual object, Gang Chi of Thunder Tribulation. It's a pity that my dragon-seeking technique is only second rank. If I want to extract the Thunder Tribulation spirit vein from beneath the lake, it would surely consume greatly, at most producing a second-order Thunder Tribulation Lake. Lu Changsheng thought to himself. Venerable Wuxia was tempted by the Thunder Tribulation Lake, but didn't harbor much ambition for it. After all, such spirit veins, unless one has great magical power and miraculous Dharma treasure, can hardly be moved. He looked toward a place not far away, where 3 melon-sized pale golden crystal stones, enshrouded in wind and thunder, were placed. He bowed to Lu Changsheng and said, "Senior, these are thunderstorm crystals. I only need one." Venerable Wuxia wanted to take all 3 thunderstorm crystals, as with them, his spirit beast not only had the hope of breaking bloodline limits, but also to advance further. However, Lu Changsheng's abilities truly terrified him, so he dared not be too greedy and anger him. Agreed. Lu Changsheng nodded slightly. After Venerable Wuxia stored 1 thunderstorm crystal in his storage ring, he voiced his thanks. "I appreciate it, Senior." Venerable Wuxia takes his leave. Lu Changsheng nodded, signaling for the other to leave. Venerable Wuxia immediately turned into a rainbow light and left the peak of the Wind Thunderhound. He then disengaged from his spirit beast fusion, his body resembling a brutish bear as it shrank and his aura weakened. He rode the white tiger back to the spirit-taming sect. Even with Lu Changsheng's friendly demeanor, the sudden appearance of an unknown golden core true person within the Jiang country cultivation realm meant they must make strategic preparations. Especially since Lu Changsheng suppressed the Wind Thunderhound and asked him for maps of Myriad Beast Mountain Range and information on Demon Kings. This made him seriously doubt that the other party planned to slay Demon Kings here. 1 or 2 might still be fine, but if done excessively, it would certainly provoke the enmity of Demon Kings and might even unleash a beast tide. Therefore, in the face of such a situation, the spirit-taming sect had to be prepared and guarded against it. Once Lu Changsheng confirmed that Venerable Wuxia had left, the effects of the 9 treasures Rui Bone receded like the tide. His cultivation fell step by step from the 5th layer of golden core to the foundation establishment 1st layer, leaving him feeling weak and empty. This feeling is really unpleasant. Lu Changsheng let out a long sigh, feeling sore and uncomfortable all over, realizing he would need at least half a month of rest to employ such a technique again. Nonetheless, through this battle and simple display of power, he also got a rough estimate of his own strength. Facing an early-stage, 3rd-rank Demon King, he could basically decide the outcome swiftly. With it, he should be able to suppress a 3rd-order middle-stage Demon King with full strength. As for late-stage, great Demon Kings, it's better to avoid them if possible. Time to get to work. Lu Changsheng looked at the cave in front of him with a smile, released the 1,000 Faces puppet fox, and started to work by arranging the small 5-element reversal formation around the cave. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1162. Venerable Wuxia returned to the spirit-taming sect, riding the spiritual beast White Tiger. After a brief reorganization, he went to the palace atop Mount Yuling. Sect leader brother, Sister Huiyu, are you both here? Upon entering the palace, Venerable Wuxia saw the sect leader of Yuling's sect discussing matters with a nascent soul immortal and expressed his surprise. Venerable Wuxia, weren't you heading to the Myriad Beast Mountain Range? Was everything smooth? The sect leader of Yuling sect noticed that Venerable Huxia's magic aura was a bit rushed and chaotic, having expended a great deal of mana, and had just experienced a major battle. He voiced his concern. Sect leader brother, I was engaged in battle with the Wind Thunder Hound when I encountered a core formation Grand Cultivator. Venerable Hu Xiao immediately spoke up, recounting the incident with Lu Xianxia. What, a core formation Grand Cultivator? Another unknown nascent soul, true person has appeared? The sect leader of Yuling sect and Sister Huiyu looked at each other in astonishment upon hearing this. Another, Venerable Hu Xiao, was taken aback by this remark, sensing that something was amiss. Sister Huiyu came back with news from the Heavenly Sword sect that several nascent soul true persons have infiltrated our Jiang country, most likely for the Tianyuan secret realm. They advised us to be extra vigilant. The sect leader of Yuling sect spoke gravely, then with a serious expression inquired, Venerable Hu Xiao, you said this person suppressed the Wind Thunderhound with a single divine skill. Can you discern which power or lineage this person comes from? I'm not sure. This person's divine abilities seem to contain the flow of yin-yang qi, somewhat reminiscent of the methods of the yin-yang sect. But their mana was overwhelming and dignified, not like the yin-yang sect. Venerable Hu Xiao shook his head. Moreover, this person's magical power was extraordinarily profound, as if imbued with an undying essence, likely a golden core, true person. Otherwise, the Wind Thunder Hound, even weakened, would not have been easily suppressed and detained by him. But I have never heard of such a core formation Grand Cultivator from any faction. Venerable Hu Xiao spoke with a grave expression, continuing on. If Lu Changsheng only managed to kill the Wind Thunder Hound by catching off guard, Venerable Hu Xiao wouldn't have been so shocked. But the divine skill that captured and detained the Wind Thunder Hound truly startled him. Golden Core Grand Cultivator. The complexions of the sect leader of Yuling sect and Sister Hui both turned grave upon hearing this. A superior gold core represents the cream of the crop among those of the same tier. Not only was this person a core formation Grand Cultivator, but also potentially a golden core true person, which was truly terrifying. Such an existence in the Myriad Beasts mountain range, within the domain of their spirit-taming sect, was indeed cause for concern, especially at this sensitive time. It seems the Tianyuan secret realm has been deliberately publicized. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such golden core Grand Cultivators coming to our Jiang country. Sister Huiyu spoke in a heavy tone. Venerable Hu Xiao, that person didn't attack you? The sect leader of Yuling sect looked at Venerable Hu Xiao and asked. It seems he had no malicious intent, but he demanded a map of the Myriad Beasts mountain range and information on the Demon Kings from me. So I had to be cautious. Venerable Hu Xiao spoke. During those years of the Beast Tide, their spirit-taming sect was severely weakened. Although they have recovered much over the years, thanks to the abundant gains from the Beast Tide, they couldn't withstand further turmoil. A map of the Myriad Beasts mountain range? Since that person had no great hostility, we should refrain from acting rashly for now. Regarding this matter, I'll immediately send a message to the Heavenly Sword sect to see what their intentions are, the sect leader of Yuling sect said after pondering for a while. While the Jiang country cultivation realm has the 4 great immortal sects, it's essentially the Heavenly Sword sect that leads. Now that the situation is getting more serious, with the appearance of core formation cultivators, they naturally want to see how the Heavenly Sword sect plans to respond. Whether it will be to take the initiative to strike, set a trap, or lure the enemy deeper. The Myriad Beasts mountain range. Inside a cave. No wonder most nascent soul true persons, even if they are third-level array masters, alchemists, artifact refiners, or talisman masters, rarely earn money through these skills. E. The Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With such strength, they simply do not value the hard-earned money from skills. At most, they refine pills or create artifacts out of personal relationships for friends and juniors, or use their skills to cultivate their minds and gain insights through analogy. Lu Changsheng cleaned the cave of the wind thunderhound. He not only obtained the third-order spirit vein, the thunderstorm vein, but also a heap of heavenly and earthly treasures. Apart from the origin source of the spirit vein, the thunderstorm vein, just the thunderstorm crystals, and these treasures were worth hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. Not to mention the most precious wind thunderhound itself. As a third-ranked demon king, it was a true treasure trove. This was the very reason why Lu Changsheng was willing to expend great magical power to subdue and detain it with the yin-yang qi grasp before killing it. To keep its body as intact as possible. Otherwise, if the body is damaged, its value would greatly diminish. Although this wind thunderhound is a third-rank demon king, capable of forming blood essence spirit light, its divine abilities are not suitable for me. Lu Changsheng examined the jade slip from the roaring true person and began to consider which demon king to hunt next. This wind thunderhound was quite good, but its innate divine ability was an offensive divine ability. With his own offensive divine abilities, talismans, third-order body refining, thunder gang dragon flame, and 9-color tribulation light, he was not lacking in offensive techniques. The same held true for defense. With body refinement, protective divine light, yin-yang mysterious divine light, and a 4th grade life substitute talisman. So in his view, the divine ability awakened by the Tai soul body must be carefully chosen to be of help to him. The Void Mouse King, 3rd rank early stage, has the innate ability of concealment and stealth. Unless faced with a nascent soul true lord, once it goes into hiding, it is difficult to detect its presence or trace. Acquiring this ability would be good, but that Mouse King is probably not easy to find. The Blazing Gold Toad, 3rd order middle stage, has the innate ability to devour the heavenly spiritual fire, which can form an unparalleled divine flame. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1163. Not bad. If I can obtain this divine skill, maybe my Thunder Gang Dragon Flame could advance further. It's just that this blazing gold toad still shares its dwelling with another gold toad, Golden-Eyed Fire Ape, 3rd stage mid-level demon king. Its innate ability is a pair of fire golden eyes, unparalleled in attack, capable of piercing through illusions and discerning the weaknesses of others. This divine skill is also not bad. Right now, I just happen to be lacking this kind of measure. Lu Changsheng continuously reviewed the profiles of demon kings within the Jade Slip. It must be said, the demon kings of the Myriad Beast mountain range are no simple creatures. Essentially Earth-grade bloodline demon beasts with various innate divine skills, which are extremely enticing to him. Unfortunately, the Tai soul body can only use one blood essence spirit light to awaken, so he can only choose one of these demon kings. Besides himself, Lu Changsheng was also seeking out a suitable demon king and divine skill for his son, Lu Qingxian. Sun Moon Resplendent Butterfly, 3rd stage mid-level demon king, with a mutated bloodline, possesses 2 types of innate divine skills, with combat power comparable to that of a late-stage core formation great cultivator. At that moment, Lu Changsheng's heart stirred upon seeing the information about a certain demon king. This demon king had 1 offensive and 1 defensive divine skill each. And according to the information recorded on the Jade Slip, both divine skills of the Sun Moon Resplendent Butterfly were top tier. Even late-stage core formation great cultivators find it difficult to subdue this Sun Moon Resplendent Butterfly. Can I comprehend its 2 divine skills through the blood essence spirit light? Furthermore, since this Sun Moon Resplendent Butterfly has dual divine skills, the probability of mastering its divine skills should also be much larger. Lu Changsheng pondered inwardly. Although it's highly probable to acquire the demon beast divine skill through the awakening of the Tai soul body with blood essence spirit light, it's not a certainty. CTH novel, F. Ire. Inti website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. There's still a small chance of not mastering it. Lu Changsheng was tempted by this sun-moon resplendent butterfly, mainly thinking of awakening the Tai soul body for his son, Lu Qingxian. After all, in his current state, such dual divine skills were not very useful to him. But for his son, if he could master one offensive and one defensive divine skill during the Foundation establishment stage, he would be an invincible existence. With my current abilities, it might be a bit difficult to subdue this sun-moon resplendent butterfly. I might as well leave it for now, as a future option. Lu Changsheng wasn't too anxious about his son's awakening with the blood essence spirit light. After all, the process of awakening the Tai soul body is perilous, and it's best done after Foundation establishment. His son was still young, there was plenty of time. Since that's the case, let's first deal with this golden-eyed fire ape. After a long observation, Lu Changsheng sat cross-legged, planning to make a move on the golden-eyed fire ape once his condition had recovered, although the opponent possessed the strength of a third order-middle stage. As long as he could kill it, Lu Changsheng still felt moderately confident. If unfeasible, he could always just run away. 1.5 months later, Myriad Beasts Mountain Range, Divine Ape Ridge. This was the territory of the third rank Demon King, the golden-eyed fire ape. Be careful. Dressed in a fate-defying robe with an invisible luster flowing around, Lu Changsheng released the Thousand Faces puppet fox to lure out the golden-eyed fire ape. Then he would take the chance to make his move. Yes, master. The Thousand Faces puppet fox nodded in response. Then, with a swoosh, it shot into the sky, a spiritual pressure of a third-rank Demon King radiating from its body, attacking randomly in all directions. Roar! Before long, a roar echoed. A huge, immense ape, tens of feet tall, covered in pure gold hair and well-fanged, with a potent aura, appeared. Its body covered in pure gold fur swayed in the wind, looking incredibly fierce. It had a pair of gleaming golden eyes, like two suns, dazzling and splendid, shooting out beams of scorching light, intense and daunting. Shoop! The Thousand Faces puppet fox dodged these two beams of attack, causing them to strike a distant mountain peak, exploding violently and igniting raging flames. You are not from the demon race. Who are you, and why do you provoke me, the king? The golden-eyed fire ape's chi blood surged, its pure gold fur appearing to be engulfed in a layer of crimson flame, fierce and domineering as it roared. You noticed that quickly? Lu Changsheng was surprised, not expecting the golden-eyed fire ape to instantly realize that the Thousand Faces puppet fox was not from the demon race. Initially, without the system's information, even he couldn't immediately tell that the Thousand Faces puppet fox was a puppet. But at this moment, he did not hesitate, fully operating the 9 treasures Rui bone. After all, the Thousand Faces puppet fox was not adept at frontal combat. If it were to be injured by the golden-eyed fire ape, this trip would be a great loss for him. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 treasures Rui bone on his chest burst forth with resplendent divine light, elevating Lu Changsheng's physical body, mana, and divine sense like a volcanic eruption, his cultivation and magical power of first layer of golden core rising steadily. Golden core, second layer. Golden core, third layer. Golden core, fourth layer. Golden core, fifth layer. Yin-Yang Qi grasp. A profoundly mysterious yin-yang qi burst forth from the top of Lu Changsheng's head, instantly transforming into an enormous hand imbued with yin-yang qi, spanning hundreds of feet and bearing down upon the golden-eyed fire ape with overwhelming force. Damn humans! Golden-eyed fire ape's gaze immediately turned toward Lu Changsheng, and with a thunderous roar, the voice rumbled as if it were thunder, making one's chi blood churn and surge. The ape's towering stature suddenly swelled, resembling a towering, flame-engulfed mountain, ready to tear apart the sky-obscuring yin-yang handprint. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Simultaneously, 9 third-order talismans transformed into beams of golden light, sealing off the golden-eyed fire ape from all directions. 9-colored tribulation light. Facing this golden-eyed fire ape, Lu Chongqing never thought of subduing it as easily as he did with the Wind Thunder Hound, but intended to fight swiftly and decisively. Boom! Lu Changsheng's chest surged as if the sun was rising, shining upon the earth, emanating a 9-color divine light. The divine light was deep and prison-like, sacred and splendid, composed of countless tadpole-like runes, filled with an aura capable of destroying all dharma, swarming before Lu Chongsheng, making him appear akin to a divine deity. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1164. Roar. As a demon beast, the golden-eyed fire ape's instincts were extremely sharp. It instantly sensed a dangerous tremor from Lu Chongsheng and felt a chilling terror. Its pair of golden eyes suddenly filled with a fiery red light, burning the skies, attempting to break free from the yin-yang hand and dodge this strike. Saw the novel F. Ire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. But in addition to the yin-yang chi grasp, there were also 9 third-rank suppression talismans and the Thousand Faces Puppet Fox. The Thousand Faces Puppet Fox's charming pupils shone with an enchanting luster, continuously disturbing the golden-eyed fire ape's mental spirit. Its snow-white fox tail twisted and rose, several meters in size, emitting a powerful and surging great magical power pressing down on the golden-eyed fire ape. Her main methods are charm and illusion, but that does not mean she has no combat power. At this time, Lu Changsheng's expression was indifferent, like a true immortal descending to earth, stepping towards the golden-eyed fire ape. The 9-colored tribulation light in front of his chest was intensely bright and dominant, annihilating all things in the universe, turning everything it passed into dust and shining upon the golden-eyed fire ape. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the golden-eyed fire ape's fur, burning with red flames, began to be extinguished under the 9-colored tribulation light, turning to ash, its flesh beginning to crack, with pale golden blood seeping out. The endless tribulation light surged, runes densely packed, as if grand sounds of the great Tao echoed, engulfing the golden-eyed fire ape, causing it to continuously roar and bellow. This wailing sound made countless demon beasts in the myriad beast mountain range tremble with fear, crawling and howling, wondering why this demon king was making such sounds. What's happening? It seems like the roar of the golden-eyed fire ape king. Someone is fighting with it. Some cultivators hunting demon beasts in the mountain range couldn't help but look over. They only saw the mountain-sized golden-eyed fire ape enveloped by a brilliant 9-color divine light, wailing and roaring. In an instant, everyone felt a tremor in their hearts, trembling uncontrollably. This aura was too terrifying and astonishing, making it seem as if the entire universe was trembling. Even from a great distance, they felt an inexplicable pulse of dread. Some nearby Foundation establishment cultivators dared not look directly at the divine light, feeling a burning pain in their eyes. This process did not last long. Merely half a moment later, the golden-eyed fire ape howled sadly, its aura withering, its massive body gradually shrinking. The patterns of yin and yang flowed in the sky dome. A distinct big handprint thunderously descended, scooping out the enveloped golden-eyed fire ape in the 9-colored tribulation light. Let's go. Lu Changsheng's face was somewhat pale, holding a small sphere with yin-yang energy in his hand. Quickly entered the golden-eyed fire ape's cave mansion, swept through it, and then left directly without taking the origin of the spirit vein. It wasn't that he didn't want the spirit vein inside, but because he was greatly exhausted now and his body was under heavy load. If a demon king or others were to arrive later, it would be very troublesome to be blocked inside the cave. So now he quickly swept through once, planning to find a place to recover his state first, and then come back to dig 3 feet into the ground. The golden-eyed fire ape king was suppressed. How long was that? Could this person be a nascent soul, true lord? No, it should not be a nascent soul, true lord, but a nascent soul grand cultivator. I just see 2 figures, probably 2 nascent soul immortals. Many cultivators looking towards the now calm direction of divine Ape Ridge were all shocked, trembling uncontrollably. This level of combat power, these kinds of techniques were simply astonishing. They had just resolved a 3rd Order Demon King in such a short time. It's known that such a Demon King, compared to a same-rank cultivator, is basically on a higher level. Hurry up and leave. If this person continues to hunt Demon Kings in the Myriad Beast mountain range, it will surely provoke a group attack by the Demon Kings, or even a beast tide. Some people, seeing this scene, immediately gave up hunting demon beasts and prepared to leave the Myriad Beast mountain range. Because once they provoke the Demon Kings to actively surround and kill humans, they are bound to die, completely unable to escape the Myriad Beast mountain range. As for the commotion he caused, Xianxia was not aware. He had never been to the Myriad Beast mountain range before, and his understanding of it was limited to its general situation, but not the details. Moments later, Xianxia, with the assistance of the Thousand Faces puppet fox, slaughtered a 2nd Order Great Demon, occupied its cave mansion, immediately set up the minor 5 elements inversion formation, and took several prepared elixir medicines. Boom, boom, boom. Xianxia's musculoskeletal system made crackling sounds, his mana retreating like a tide, his face not only pale, but also his aura somewhat weakened. Under normal circumstances, such a reinforcement by the 9 treasures Rui Bone would not cause him too great a burden. But under such reinforcement, fully deploying the 9-color tribulation light, even though he had 3rd Order body refining, still imposed a certain load on him. And if it wasn't for the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus acting as his 2nd Dantian, his mana would have almost been drained. If I don't go all out, this is roughly my limit in combat power. Xianxia took a deep breath, holding 2 high-quality spirit stones, and sat cross-legged. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1165, Myriad Beast Mountain Range, Inside a Mountain Cave. Xianxia slowly opened his eyes, exhaling turbid air, his face rosy and full, his eyes bright with vigor, his pupils shifting with yin and yang, like the cyclical sun and moon. He lifted a hand, and a small yin-yang ball appeared, transforming into a large, vague, terrifying body of a fierce creature. It was the body of the golden-eyed fire ape. Tai Chi's soul body, fire golden eye. Xianxia looked at the body in front of him, preparing to use this golden-eyed fire ape to awaken the Tai Chi soul body. The opponent's innate divine ability was extraordinary. He recognized the condition of the Thousand Faces puppet fox at first glance. If he could acquire this innate divine ability, it would not only help in magical duels, but also in exploring spirit veins and detecting dangers. Thunder Gang Dragon Flame. Xianxia opened his mouth and spewed out fierce, red-purple flames that rolled out, forming a serpentine dragon-like shape with lightning arcs flowing through it. Refined. The Thunder Gang Dragon Flame enveloped the body of the golden-eyed fire ape, intending to refine it into blood essence spirit light. Boom, boom, boom. As the Thunder Gang Dragon Flame burned the body of the golden-eyed fire ape, a vaguely visible image of an ape screamed and roared within it. This was the soul of the golden-eyed fire ape, blood essence spirit light, meticulously refined from the full body essence blood and soul of a 3rd-rank demon king. If the demon beast had died a long time ago and the soul had scattered, it would be impossible to refine the blood essence spirit light, or the refined blood essence spirit light would be flawed. Thus, to ensure the soul's integrity, Lu Changsheng acted the moment its life force faded and immediately captured it with the One Qi grand capture. Boom, boom, boom. The thunder gang dragon flame, like a divine furnace of thunder and fire, smelted the essence, blood, and soul of the golden-eyed fire ape into one. During this process, the flesh of the golden-eyed fire ape gradually withered. All the essence, blood, and soul slowly formed a cloud of red mist, shimmering with golden luster, and fresh red blood of the golden-eyed fire ape barely visible. Lu Changsheng's expression was solemn, his demeanor dignified as he continuously formed gesture incantations, condensing the blood essence spirit light. Time passed unknowingly, and this cluster of blood gradually formed into an egg-sized, radiant, red gem-like agate divine marrow. The gem was radiant and splendid, shining brilliantly, filled with intense scarlet divine brilliance, and surging with a powerful life force that illuminated the entire cave dazzlingly. Blood essence spirit light, it's done. Lu Changsheng looked at the gem in front of him, his eyes sparkling with joy. He had already been clear on the method to awaken the Tai Chi soul body. Considering his environment, Lu Changsheng slapped the Yin corpse bag, releasing the endless guileful head for an additional layer of protection. After completing the preparations, Lu Changsheng's brow shone as he implanted the blood essence spirit light into the sea of consciousness of his own forehead. Buzz! Blood essence spirit light entered the sea of consciousness at the center of his forehead, instantly boiling like hot water, diffusing endless crimson radiance, with a faint apparition of a golden-eyed fire ape. Lu Changsheng's soul, sharp as a sword, actively collided with the blood essence spirit light in front of him. Boom! In an instant, the blood essence spirit light exploded with blood radiance, crimson light flowing like a fire cloud in all directions, filling Lu Changsheng's sea of consciousness. Hiss, hiss, hiss. In the sea of consciousness, the peach blossom goo seemed provoked, awakening and gazing towards the apparition of the golden-eyed fire ape. Lu Changsheng immediately suppressed the peach blossom goo, not letting it interfere with the awakening of his Tai Chi soul body. Boom, boom, boom. The blood essence spirit light, like a red sun, shone brilliantly in Lu Changsheng's sea of consciousness, causing his soul to feel a scorching, piercing pain. Having experienced the awakening of the blood talisman's spiritual body before, Lu Changsheng knew such pain was inevitable. He circulated the sun-moon samsara technique to withstand this intense pain. Buzz! After an indeterminate time, Lu Changsheng's soul gradually formed into a tiny human shape, surrounded by winding golden runes that appeared and flowed with radiant, mystical light. At this moment, the blood essence spirit light found a pour-out point and actively surged towards the tiny soul figure. Lu Changsheng's soul faced scorching pain, actively absorbing the power within the blood essence spirit light. Gradually, his soul was enveloped in blood radiance, forming a splendidly crystalline blood-red cocoon. As the blood radiance of the blood essence spirit light continued to flow, the blood cocoon grew larger, nurturing and stimulating Lu Changsheng's soul, making him feel comfortable yet pained. Xianxia the Novelier. N.E.T. website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Aside from his soul, during this process, Lu Changsheng's flesh, meridians, and dantian were all illuminated in red under the influence of the blood essence spirit light, permeated with a mysterious aura. Though the Tai Chi soul body is a soul path spiritual body, this awakening process also sanctifies and enhances the physical body. Boom, boom, boom. Although enveloped by the blood essence spirit light, Lu Changsheng could still see his surroundings and his bodhi's condition. The entire person sat motionless, his countenance dignified and solemn, his body completely suffused in red, his blood roaring like rivers and seas, thunderously resounding. All over his body, his meridians, bones, and internal organs vibrated in unison, like a divine weapon being forged, clanging sonorously, full of divine anomalies. Under this sanctification, Lu Changsheng felt that his 100 refinements treasure body art was about to break through. But now, as the Tai Chi soul body was awakening, he suppressed this thrill and focused on fully awakening the Tai Chi soul body. Time passed bit by bit. In Lu Changsheng's sea of consciousness, the blood essence spirit light gradually dispersed, leaving only a large blood-red cocoon. This blood cocoon floated up and down in the sea of consciousness, wrapped in red mists, hazy and elusive, its surface seeming to ripple with mysterious patterns, filled with the essence of Tao. Crack! After an unknown duration, a crisp sound came from the blood cocoon. A thin layer of blood shell cracked and transformed into a waft of pure soul power that dissipated and nourished the sea of consciousness. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1166. A moment later, another crackling sound was heard, accompanied by a layer of blood crust shattering. Xianxia the Nelfire. Inti website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Crack, crack, crack. As time passed, the shattering became more frequent. Suddenly, the blood cocoon wrapped in a red glow, covered with cracks. Numerous splendid and brilliant golden lights burst forth from the surface. Boom! The blood cocoon completely broke open, and within it appeared a tiny soul figure identical to Lu Changsheng. The small figure was flawless and untainted, with a golden luster flowing, as if it was a divine being. The shattered blood cocoon transformed into streams of extremely pure soul power, nourishing Lu Changsheng's sea of consciousness, making the golden small figure appear even more divine and solid. 4,000 zhong, 5,000 zhong, 6,000 zhong, 7,000 zhong, 8,000 zhong, 9,000 zhong. As Lu Changsheng's soul kept solidifying, his divine sense skyrocketed wildly. From the original 3,600 zhong, directly increasing to 9,000 zhong. Typically, for those in the late stage of core formation, divine sense is 7,000 zhong, 9,000 zhong. This has already reached the level of the peak of core formation. Is this the Tai soul body? Lu Changsheng's heart surged with joy as he quietly sensed the condition of his own soul. Apart from the divine sense, his soul was several times more condensing and pure compared to before. This meant that he had a considerable resistance against techniques such as illusion, charm, intimidation, and other soul attack methods. Unless a nascent soul true lord attacked, ordinary nascent soul cultivator soul attacks would hardly be effective against him. And when he used his own soul-based techniques and divine consciousness secret techniques, the power and effect would also be greatly enhanced. Now, when I deploy a talisman formation, I could probably achieve myriad talismans ascent. Lu Changsheng felt that the state of his soul and his mental state were unprecedentedly good. Even with his eyes closed, he could perceive the world with exceptional clarity. With a single thought, he was able to clearly capture the presence of the endless guileful head, thousand faces puppet fox, the small reversed 5 elements array, and even the subtle essence of the flowers and plants beyond the mountain range. Even the array formation spiritual light of the small reversed 5 elements array seemed not so difficult in front of his eyes. Given time and thought, he would be able to understand it and enter the threshold in no time. This is the advantage of a pure soul. Lu Changsheng had always been aware of the benefits of divine sense for cultivators. But for the soul side, he never had a distinct perception. At this moment, having awakened the Tai Chi soul body, he now understood that a pure soul not only strengthens the soul, but also makes perception terrifyingly sharp. During daily combat and cultivation practice, through the soul, he could observe many situations difficult to capture or discern with the naked eye. eyes. Just then Lu Changsheng's heart skipped a beat, and his eyes opened abruptly. His bright, shining eyes opened like torches, with a golden luster, resplendent and radiant, projecting two golden beams. His eyes could directly see through the cave's stone walls to the outside, and even vaguely discern in that direction was a towering presence, filled with demon qi. Is this the golden-eyed fire, ape's fire golden eye? Lu Changsheng's heart was filled with surprise. Then he turned to look at the thousand-faces puppet fox guarding the cave entrance. With the golden luster flowing in his eyes, capable of piercing through falsehood, he saw that the other's form and appearance were disguised, and the aura of demon power was not right. Neither pure demonic power nor pure mana. Looking at the small reversed 5 elements array, he could vaguely make out the flow and the weaker points of the formation's qi. Such a remarkable, innate divine ability. If others possessed this divine ability, they could also see through my disguise. Lu Changsheng then realized that his current disguise would probably be impenetrable to ordinary true pill masters. But if their eyes and pupil skills reach an extremely high mastery, they could see his true form, so he still had to be cautious. However, Lu Changsheng guessed that the effectiveness of his eyes was not simply due to the golden-eyed fire ape's innate divine ability. It's also because of his long-term dual cultivation with Lu Miaoyun, their eyes equivalent to being constantly baptized by luminous sweet dew, have long been extraordinary, resulting in such astonishing effects. If I continue wiping my eyes with luminous sweet dew when I get back, can I enhance the effect of this divine skill even further? Lu Changsheng pondered in his heart, very much looking forward to it. With this innate divine ability, surveying spirit veins and harvesting the spiritual vein origin will be much more convenient too. Lu Changsheng's eyes sparkling, he activated the fire golden eye while also circulating the origin spirit pupillary art. Suddenly, he saw glimpses of spiritual mechanism, which allowed him to roughly understand the spirit mechanism of the land, thus finding spirit veins and spirit minds. This innate divine ability is indeed very fitting for me. A faint smile appeared on Lu Changsheng's face as he stood up, feeling that his physical body was also much tougher and stronger than before, ready to break through the 10th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art. But he was not planning to break through now. This trip to the Myriad Beast mountain range, he planned to return within a year. But now, just hunting 2 Demon Kings has almost spent half a year. If he were to break through the 100 Refinements treasure body art and consolidate, the year would have passed by. Time to get to work. Lu Changsheng was full of energy and vigor, feeling as if his strength was inexhaustible. He planned to take advantage of his current state to hunt a few third-rank early-stage Demon Kings and Spirit Veins, make a trip to Azure Phoenix Immortal City, then return early. As for his son Lu Xian's Tai Chi soul body, he was not in a rush before, planning to deal with the Sun Moon Resplendent Butterfly, and now he's even less so. Because during the awakening process just now, he realized that awakening the Tai Chi soul body using the blood essence spirit light puts great pressure on the person awakening. If they can't withstand it, they won't be able to obtain the innate divine ability from the blood essence spirit light, and it might even be dangerous. Hong Lian said that the Tai soul body can be awakened after attaining divine sense. But after Lu Changsheng's recent experience, he knows clearly that this is just a threshold. It can be said that awakening the Tai Chi soul body with a third-rank Thunderwood, giving birth to divine sense, is enough. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1167. But if one awakens through blood essence spirit light to gain innate divine skills from it, one still needs a strong soul. Moreover, the stronger the soul, the more the improvement from awakening a Tai Chi soul body. Therefore, Lu Changsheng planned to prepare more heavenly and earthly treasures for his son to nourish the soul, so he could spend more time cultivating his divine sense. Only by doing this, after foundation establishment and awakening the Tai Chi soul body, one could withstand the pressure of blood, essence, spirit light, and most likely gain innate divine skills. This is what a family legacy is about. Even though Hong Lian is a nascent soul true lord, knowing about Tai Chi soul body and how to awaken it, she is still not very clear about many of the details. Lu Changsheng sighed in his heart. If it were not for a father like himself to experiment with the spiritual body conditions for his children, how would the average family force know these key points? At this moment, Lu Changsheng felt he was truly great. Without overthinking, his eyes gleaming with golden radiance, he looked at the underground spirit vein and began to excavate and collect the origin source of the spirit vein. A day later, Lu Changsheng had completely hewn off the small spirit vein underneath the little cave, collected the endless, guileful head and thousand faces puppet fox, his fate-defying robe flowing with formless radiance, as if camouflaged into the void. He stealthily approached Divine Ape Ridge, planning to extract the spirit vein of Divine Ape Ridge. As soon as Lu Changsheng arrived at the outskirts of Divine Ape Ridge, through his divine sense, he detected a third-rank Demon King's presence inside. What's going on? How is there another Demon King? Lu Changsheng was surprised and immediately sent the Thousand Faces puppet fox out to probe the situation. Moments later, a roar sounded, accompanied by an earth-shaking rumble. A giant bear with a ferocious appearance, mountainous in size, appeared, bellowing at the Thousand Faces puppet fox. "This place is my territory. You're trespassing, Earth Demon Bear." It's taken the place after the golden-eyed fire ape was killed. Lu Changsheng understood the situation upon seeing this scene. Demon beasts do not require spirit veins as urgently as cultivators, but they do prefer to reside where spirit veins are abundant. Moreover, the higher the grade of the spirit vein, the faster the growth and maturation of heavenly and earthly treasures they plant. Since you've come to me, I'll not hold back. Lu Changsheng noticed this Earth Demon Bear was only a third-rank early stage, its aura not even as strong as the Wind Thunder Hound from before. Immediately taking advantage of its focus on the Thousand Faces puppet fox, he made his move. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. I've only killed 4 Demon Kings, and I've already been noticed. Lu Changsheng thought about the situation, frowning slightly. If that was the case, it seems I'll have to relocate to a further area. Otherwise, every time I fight a Demon King, and before even fully seizing the spirit vein, another Demon King would find me, making my efforts futile. Immediately afterward, Lu Changsheng took out Venerable Wuxia's map of the Myriad Beast mountain range to observe his general location, planning to move to a more distant area. At this moment, Lu Changsheng looked around, his brow slightly furrowed. In a 100-mile radius, tall mountains stretched straight into the clouds. As a dragon seeker, he immediately noticed that the terrain of this mountain range was extraordinary. Right away, Lu Changsheng activated his fire golden eye and observed carefully with the origin spirit pupillary art. A moment later, he discovered that the land's energy was extraordinary. It was very likely that there was a large spirit vein below, or some rare heavenly and earthly treasure. Shall I take a look? If there's a large spirit vein, and I can intercept it completely, I could return from this trip with full rewards. Lu Changsheng felt tempted, seeing that the previous Demon Kings hadn't followed him. He decided to investigate the area. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1168. Lu Changsheng's eyes were bright and penetrating, cutting through illusion as he continuously observed the spiritual mechanisms within mountains. The more he looked, the more he realized that this mountain range was not simple. Each peak was like a section of the Azure Dragon spine, connected together, as if a dragon lay coiled. According to the dragon-seeking art, such terrain belongs to a dragon vein. There must be a large spirit vein here, or perhaps even rarer heavenly and earthly treasures. However, such a spirit vein, why hasn't it been occupied by a demon king? Lu Changsheng, observing the terrain before him, furrowed his brows, feeling that something was amiss. He took out the jade slip map of venerable Wuxia to compare, and this area did not have any special marks on it. What's going on here? Perplexed, Lu Changsheng's eyes flowed with a golden light as he looked around, yet he saw no danger in this terrain. After pondering for a moment, he arrived at one of the peaks and released the seeking spirit mouse. See if there are any treasures or dangers here, Lu Changsheng told the seeking spirit mouse. This kind of treasure-seeking mouse was not only keenly sensitive to the chi of heavenly and earthly treasures, but also very alert to danger. If there was danger, it would be the first to sense it. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Upon hearing the words, the seeking spirit mouse nodded and bowed, then sniffed around and dashed in one direction. Lu Changsheng followed distantly behind. After traveling more than 10 li, he saw ahead a valley filled with many spiritual fruit trees and a group of pitch-black furred monkeys. What kind of monkeys are these? Lu Changsheng did not recognize these monkeys and wondered what kind of demon beasts they were. But he roughly made out that their strength was mostly at the first grade and second rank, belonging to herd-living demon beasts. The seeking spirit mouse looked at the distant monkeys with fear and didn't dare to approach. After carefully observing for a moment, Lu Changsheng decided not to attack the monkeys. After all, once he made a move and caused a commotion, the demon king chasing him would detect it and come here immediately. He let the seeking spirit mouse continue to search for other treasures and spirit vein chi. Wandering through the mountain range, although he did not encounter the demon king, he saw many demon beasts, and Lu Changsheng gradually felt at ease. After all, the presence of demon beasts living here indicated that there was nothing wrong with this mountain range. If it were silent, without a single demon beast, he would turn and leave immediately. Several days later, the seeking spirit mouse arrived in front of a cave entrance. It indicated that there was a rich spiritual mechanism inside, but also a dangerous aura. Lu Changsheng, using his fire golden eye and origin spirit pupillary art, immediately saw a surging spiritual mechanism in the cave before him. He released the Thousand Faces puppet fox to enter the cave with him. Upon reaching the depths of the cave, Lu Changsheng saw many wild bee skeletons and a dark gold treasure tree entwined with flame vines. Is this the golden fire vine tree? After studying heaven and earth spiritual plants for a long time, Lu Changsheng immediately recognized the treasure tree before him and was overjoyed. Unexpectedly, not long after he had acquired a fire mulberry tree, he now encountered a golden fire vine tree. He really had immense fortune. However, the next moment, he heard a faint sound. Many black ants, the size of soybeans and shimmering with a black firelight, emerged from beneath the skeletons and the golden fire vine tree, flying towards him. Iron fire ants. Seeing these ants, Lu Changsheng's expression shifted from surprise to delight. Iron fire ants were a type of gregarious odd insect that liked to live in scorching environments, feeding on metal or stones. On ordinary days, a few or even dozens of them were insignificant and could be easily killed by energy-refining cultivators. However, these odd insects became imposing when swarming in numbers reaching thousands, which could be extremely fierce. Banded together, with their terrifying attack power, penetrating strength, fire poison, and solid defense, they were practically comparable to fire attribute magical treasures. Even nascent soul immortals would find it troublesome to deal with such swarms of iron fire ants. Besides, iron fire ants were also famous for one thing. They could be refined into a rare material called refining crystal. When refining crystals were added in small amounts to magical treasures, the items would become much more durable and hard to destroy or wear down. Apart from magical treasures, structures like palaces and spirit boats and spiritual vessels also could contain this refining crystal. Iron fire ants require very harsh living conditions. These iron fire ants must be surviving thanks to this golden fire vine tree. This swarm of iron fire ants could be collected and raised by Xianxia, which would come in handy when I refine my magical treasures, as the refining crystals could be useful. Lu Changsheng, looking at the swarming thousands of iron fire ants before him, emanated the yin-yang mysterious divine light all around him, enveloping his whole body tightly, and then reached out with his hand. The yin-yang energies transformed into a hand as light as mist, sweeping up all the iron fire ants in a rolling motion, and slowly gathering them into a yin-yang small ball. Hum, hum, hum. S.E. The Novel Fire. N.E. T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Nevertheless, as soon as the one Qi grand capture imprisoned the iron fire ants, many chose to self-destruct, emitting a destructive fire poison that made the yin-yang small ball tremble. It is said that iron fire ants are difficult to tame and will choose self-destruction when faced with a threat to their lives, which can only be raised and bred from their eggs. Seeing this, Lu Changsheng realized that it was impractical to try to take these iron fire ants back for cultivation. He immediately invoked his mana, extinguishing the life force of the ants within. After all, if these iron fire ants self-destructed, he would end up with nothing. By actively subduing them, he could later refine some refining crystal. I wonder if these iron fire ants have eggs. After subduing all the iron fire ants, Lu Changsheng turned his gaze to the pile of bones on the ground and began searching. But after clearing all the bone piles, there was nothing but many remnants or exoskeletons shed by the iron fire ants, with no ant eggs to be found. Sigh, there's a reason why refining crystals are so rare and precious. Lu Changsheng sighed, and then set about slowly extracting the golden fire vine tree. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1169. When he uprooted the golden fire vine tree, he immediately saw many tiny iron fire antlings, as well as blackish ant eggs the size of rice grains. Are these iron fire ant eggs? Lu Changsheng was surprised and delighted to see these antlings and eggs. Then, with a faint smile on his lips, he said, "That's right, iron fire ants like scorching areas. Naturally, they would reside beneath this golden fire vine tree." Lu Changsheng raised his hand and performed the yin-yang qi grasp, capturing all the iron fire ants. Seeing that these larvae did not choose to self-destruct like the previous iron fire ants, Lu Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. He put all the larvae and eggs into the spirit beast bag, and then used his divine sense to check for anything that might have been missed. Beneath the golden fire vine tree, he observed numerous densely packed holes, which were likely traces left by the iron fire ants burrowing in. These holes had strands and threads of rich spiritual energy flowing out of them. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The seeking spirit mouse pointed below, indicating there might be a spirit vein, but also an unknown danger. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed, shining with a golden sheen. He activated the origin spirit pupillary art and saw a stream of pure, rich spiritual mechanism flowing below. There was a high probability of exceptional spiritual objects or the presence of a spirit vein. Dig. Lu Changsheng immediately set up the small reversed 5 elements array at the entrance of the cave to cloak their presence, then began digging towards the underground spirit vein. Several hours later, after penetrating multiple layers of rock walls, Lu Changsheng saw an indistinct array pattern laying deep underground, which sealed everything beneath solidly, making it impossible to dig further. Has someone discovered the spirit vein below and heavenly and earthly treasures, and set up an array in advance? Lu Changsheng furrowed his brows, somewhat shocked and amazed. Unexpectedly, there was an array placed below. Although he was not an array master, he had some understanding of arrays. It was clear that such an array was set up by someone. Moreover, although the array was sturdy, There were moments when it seemed barely there, with pure, rich spiritual energy leaking out, indicating the array had existed for too long and had undergone some mishaps, becoming damaged. Previously, I felt there was an issue with this terrain, like an azure dragon coiling here. Now, there's an array pattern beneath this terrain. Could it be the work of a feng shui master or a dragon seeker? Lu Changsheng contemplated in his heart. The more he thought, the more he felt that this mountain range was not simple. He suspected there might be some relics or a cave mansion below, although he was not very interested in relics and cave mansions. But since he'd come all the way here and the relics were right in front of him, it was somewhat unbearable not to explore. Additionally, there was likely a large spirit vein inside, which he just couldn't bear to give up. Such array patterns might be difficult to break with brute force alone. Lu Changsheng looked at the array pattern in front of him, trying to activate it with mana. The array pattern immediately shimmered with spiritual light, stirring up ripples and repelling him. Then, Lu Changsheng fully activated the fate-defying robe, with streams of Dao patterns flowing around him, attempting to pass through the array pattern with the help of the robe. But the fate-defying robe could only traverse arrays below the third rank. Even though the array in front had existed for a long time and underwent some mishaps, it was still above the third rank, preventing him from passing through directly. Since this array has shown irregularities, there must be a weak point, a flaw. As long as I can find the flaw, I should be able to get in. Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly. He thought to himself, and he had a prohibition-breaking talisman in his hand. If he found the flaw, the weak point, and then struck it with the prohibition-breaking talisman, he might have a chance to enter with the help of the fate-defying robe. "Let's work," Lu Changsheng said to the seeking spirit mouse, while his eyes shimmered with golden radiance, looking to see where spiritual mechanism leakage was most significant. The more spiritual mechanism leakage, the more the array showed signs of damage. After spending 3 days, Lu Changsheng finally found a weak flaw around the array pattern in the stratum. He put the seeking spirit mouse back into the spirit beast bag, released a prohibition-breaking talisman, and in the instant the spiritual light flashed, the fate-defying robe flowed, and he suddenly traversed the array pattern. The very moment Lu Changsheng entered a vast underground palace. This place was extremely vast, endless at a glance, appearing naturally formed, showing no signs of human intervention. But Lu Changsheng immediately realized something was off here. Spiritual energy. The spiritual energy here was too dense, misty like fog, flowing and pervading through the air. Until now in his cultivation, Lu Changsheng had never experienced such dense nature's spiritual energy, feeling refreshed and clear-headed. Indeed, it's a third-order spirit vein. Someone has locked all the spirit veins under this mountain range here. Lu Changsheng's expression shifted slightly, instantly understanding what was going on. His eyes glittered as he looked at the deathly, still underground palace, heading towards the source of the nature's spiritual energy, the direction of the spirit vein origin. This underground palace is too vast, isn't it? Lu Changsheng was very cautious, moving slowly, feeling that this underground palace was simply boundless like a labyrinth. He didn't know how much time had passed when he finally approached the source of the spirit vein. But ahead there was no road. A vast abyss lay across the path. The misty spiritual energy was gushing out from the abyss right in front of him. This, Lu Changsheng couldn't help but feel astounded, knowing that he had come to this underground palace, which was supposed to be subterranean. Yet such a massive, unfathomable abyss existed below ground level, truly startling. Sir, the novel F. Ire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What kind of terrain is this? At this moment, Lu Changsheng felt that his top-tier, second-rank dragon-seeking technique was insufficient. Somehow, he couldn't understand why the situation before him had occurred. He even doubted whether the azure dragon coiling terrain he previously saw in the outer world was influenced by the current situation below, thus forming such a pattern. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1170. Lu Changsheng's eyes shone with a golden light as two golden beams pierced through the darkness, peering into the abyss below to discern what was happening. In the dark abyss, the origin of the spirit vein surged and rolled, with a hint of something crystalline and sparkling barely visible. A coffin? It was at this moment that Lu Changsheng's pupils abruptly contracted. Within the abyss, he saw a crystal coffin floating up and down, its surface glistening with a crystal sheen. All of the spirit veins' origin sources are nurturing this crystal coffin. Lu Changsheng faintly discerned the situation and was shocked in his heart. This was no small endeavor. Someone had locked onto a third-order spirit vein to nurture a coffin. What is inside this coffin? Lu Changsheng's heart was filled with shock and suspicion. Although the coffin appeared to be made of crystal, it was impossible to see within. Even his fire golden eye could not penetrate the crystal coffin to see what lay inside. A corpse, perhaps. Lu Changsheng speculated. But if it were a corpse, judging by the array patterns and the state of the underground palace, it would show signs of a very long passage of time. Even if it's not tens of thousands of years old, it is at least 1,000 years old. Over such time, even a nascent soul-true lord would turn into a mere cupful of dust. Could someone be using this method for corpse refinement? If it's corpse refinement, wouldn't the master refiner themselves have turned to ash by now? Lu Changsheng's eyes narrowed slightly as he continued to speculate in his heart. He also suspected that there might be some sort of heaven and earth spiritual object inside. After all, in the cultivation world, some people have eccentric tastes, and using a coffin to store treasures is not abnormal. Lu Changsheng considered whether to be nosy and check the state of this ancient coffin. Forget it. Let's just put the coffin aside for now to avoid any unexpected incidents when opening it. After contemplating for a moment, Lu Changsheng decided to enter the abyss and intercept the origin of the spirit vein within. If he could intercept the spirit vein's origin from below, his gains from this trip would be considerable. He raised his palm lightly. Mana surged, forming an invisible but tangible great hand that reached towards the crystal coffin floating in the abyss. It's so heavy. The moment Lu Changsheng grasped the ancient coffin, he felt its weight as heavy as a mountain. Yin Yang Qi grasp. He immediately used his divine skills. The great hand infused with Yin Yang Qi fiercely clutched the crystal coffin and lifted it upwards. Boom! The moment the ancient coffin was pulled from the abyss, there was a thunderous tremor, and the crystal coffin tipped over, spilling out a bone-chilling cold aura. A person. Lu Changsheng saw a woman lying inside the crystal coffin. Her whole body seemed to be formed from ice crystals. Her skin was snowy white, and her beautiful face was covered with a thin layer of frost, hazy and indistinct, obscuring her true features. Yet it was still clear that she was a peerless beauty, her loveliness beyond description. Her body was exquisitely shaped, lying there quietly, as if in deep sleep, yet also like an ice-cold corpse. A female corpse? Lu Changsheng stared at the woman in the coffin, his expression full of shock and disbelief. He had not expected to find an actual corpse inside the coffin. Moreover, from the lifelike and serene appearance of the other party, she resembled a sleeping beauty, seemingly not dead. What was going on? Had someone buried themselves here? A tender and pleasant faint moan came from the mouth of the female corpse. The frost on her jade-like body melted away, and her eyes slowly opened, full of bewilderment and confusion. Alive! Lu Changsheng was greatly startled upon hearing this voice. He had not expected the corpse inside the coffin to wake up. The woman was supposed to become a deity of transformation, but could survive for thousands of years. But there was no trace of magical power or spiritual pressure on this woman, only a cold, frosty aura. At the same time, Lu Changsheng got a clear view of the female corpse's appearance. She looked about 16 or 17 years old, her face delicately beautiful beyond the description of bringing down cities and nations. Her exceptional beauty exhibited an immature tenderness, like that of green water, naive and unmindful. Her eyes, dreamy and illusory, seemed to have just awakened, pure and devoid of any blemishes, like a spring in a tranquil mountain. Her skin was very white, not the white that outshines frost and snow, but a pale white lacking blood color, ghastly white. Her lips, too, were colorless, making her overall appearance seem frail and pitiful. Lu Changsheng, who had seen numerous stunning beauties in the world, couldn't help but feel a twinge of heartache for the woman before him. This was the world's tolerance and care for beautiful things. And he, Mr. Lu, always had a bit more care for the beauty of the world. Daddy, the woman, confused and dazed, saw Lu Changsheng in her hazy eyes. There was a hint of closeness in her gaze, as if sniffing like a kitten. Then she tried to throw her arms around him. Holy shit! Although Lu Changsheng felt the woman in front of him had a breathtakingly beautiful appearance and looked softly pitiable, making one want to hold and protect her in their arms, he really hadn't figured out what was going on with the female corpse before him. His reason told him that there was something wrong with the woman before him, something big. If he got close, who knew whether there would be danger or not? Subconsciously, his great hand of magical power slammed toward her. Bang! CTH Novel Fire, net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Under Lu Changsheng's great hand of magical power, the female corpse was directly boom and sent flying, tumbling into the abyss. Oh, what the hell is this? Seeing the female corpse fly away after just one palm strike, Lu Changsheng was stunned and somewhat dumbfounded. Why was she so weak? Even a common corpse, if nourished in a place like this for 1,000 years, should be extraordinary, right? At this moment, the peach blossom goo in the sea of consciousness at his brow subtly throbbed, indicating to him, love luck. Receiving this sensation, Lu Changsheng was again bewildered, with a completely puzzled face. This is also considered love luck. Damn, you're really harsh. How come when others encounter an ancient cave mansion, they come across supreme opportunities and inheritances? Why just end up picking up girls, right? Whoa. At this moment, faint whimpers and crying echoed from the abyss. Whoa. Daddy, it's so dark. Binger is scared. Lu Changsheng listened carefully, immediately recognizing it as the voice of the female corpse just now. The voice was filled with naivete and tenderness, sadness and pitifulness, suddenly making Lu Changsheng feel like he had bullied a little girl, riddled with a sense of guilt. What is this all about? Lu Changsheng was dumbfounded and speechless, truly unable to comprehend the situation before him. His eyes gleamed with a golden luster as he looked toward the abyss, and he immediately saw the female corpse crying pitifully and helplessly. Especially those innocent, baby-like eyes of hers. They seemed genuinely unfeigned. A moment later, sigh, who told me to be soft-hearted? Lu Changsheng let out a helpless sigh and approached the spiritual vein origin in the abyss. Daddy, Binger will be good and obedient. The girl's eyes, full of confusion and fear, looked at Lu Changsheng. Her lips moved as she spoke weakly and timidly. Lu Changsheng slightly furrowed his brow and said, I'm not your daddy. What's your name? Not daddy. Hearing this, the girl's eyes filled with bewilderment and cluelessness. Then her eyes turned red, and with helplessness and pitifulness, she hugged Lu Changsheng and started sobbing loudly. Does daddy not want Binger anymore? Lu Changsheng immediately felt a cold chill from the slender and graceful body of the girl hugging him. He lowered his head slightly, and as he looked at the sobbing, helpless girl in his arms, he saw that within her slightly parted lips, there were 2 sharp fangs. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1171. A Corpse Turned to Shadow. Xianxia, the Novel Fire. NE*T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changsheng's heart jolted as he stared at the girl's sharp teeth. He placed his palm on her delicately sharp shoulders, mana flowing, to check her condition. He immediately saw that her body seemed to exist between life and death, circulating a dense and intense chill of cadaveric aura. However, this chill was different from his endless guileful head and Xiahou Wuo's the dark demon corpse. It had not a trace of shadowy nefariousness. It was purely a majestic force of profound being. Moreover, he discovered that although the girl seemed fragile and pitiable, her body was extremely strong, stronger than his third-order body refining, likely at the late stage of third-order body refining. No wonder she was unharmed after that strike just now. Lu Changsheng murmured in his heart, now certain the girl was a shadow corpse. This place was likely used by someone as a site for corpse refinement. What a grand scheme to lock down such a large spirit vein just for the purpose of refining corpses. But as a shadow corpse, she's too extraordinary, almost like a living person. Lu Changsheng marveled internally. Years ago, through the abyssal ghoul blossom, he acquired a heavenly corpse refinement technique from the memories of Xiahou Wuo. It contained many methods of corpse refining, yet none of them made the refined corpses seem so vividly alive. Daddy, Binger will always be obedient. The girl continued to stare at Lu Changsheng, her eyes red and pitifully pleading. What's your name? Lu Changsheng let out a sigh and looked at the girl before him, asking aloud. Daddy, my name is Binger. With a perplexed face, the girl looked at him, her pure and flawless eyes somewhat timidly fearful, as if afraid Lu Changsheng would be displeased. Her eyes were innocent, like those of a young child, completely unbecoming of an adult. Lu Changsheng suspected that she had been sacrificed to become some type of shadow corpse, losing her previous memories, now as naive as an infant. And the first time she saw him, she had mistaken him for her father? Binger, Lu Changsheng muttered the name, then continued to ask, Why do you call me Daddy? Because Daddy is Daddy. The girl looked aggrieved, her voice childlike and almost crying. It could soften even the hardest steel. Lu Changsheng's mouth twitched. He then softly asked, Binger, why are you here? How could I be here? Upon hearing this, the girl looked around, instantly becoming tense and frightened, hugging Lu Changsheng tightly and sobbing. Daddy, it's dark. Binger is scared. Binger will be very obedient. Lu Changsheng felt that it was completely impossible to communicate with her in this state. He lifted the girl to the abyss edge, where there was light, and she instantly became less afraid, but still clung to him tightly like a kitten, unwilling to let go. Meanwhile, the peach blossom goose surged with a dense fortune of love luck, seemingly ready to advance to third-order peach blossom goo. Damn this love luck. Lu Changsheng looked at the delicate and beautiful body in his arms, like that of an adult, yet pure and flawless like a child, causing his face to twitch slightly. In such a situation, wouldn't he be a beast to take her in? Moreover, she wasn't human, but a een corpse. Mr. Lu definitely didn't have a fetish for whipping corpses. Not to mention, can a corpse even give birth? Hiss, her condition, it really is hard to say. Damn it, what am I thinking about? Daddy. At this moment, Binger nuzzled her forehead against Lu Changsheng's chest and softly called out with crystal clear, flawless eyes full of dependency. I truly am not a beast. Lu Changsheng looked into her eyes and sighed helplessly. Might as well adopt her as a daughter and take care of her. Anyway, there's so many children at home. One more wouldn't make a difference. It wasn't the first time he had picked up a problematic girl like Bai Ling. Be good and wait here. Daddy has some things to attend to. Lu Changsheng patted the girl's head, spoke, and prepared to intercept the spiritual vein origin below. By intercepting the entire spiritual vein origin here, it was estimated that both by Lake Mountain and Mount Suru, Cave Heaven spirit veins, could be promoted to the third rank. Daddy, don't leave Binger behind. The girl clung to Lu Changsheng, saying pitifully, "I need to go down. Aren't you afraid of the dark?" Lu Changsheng said helplessly. Bai Ling wasn't this clingy in the beginning, but treating her as a lonely, innocent child, he could understand it. I'll be with Daddy. The girl slightly lifted her graceful head, gazing dreamily and pure at Lu Changsheng, speaking timidly. All right then. Lu Changsheng held the girl and entered the abyss, then performed a gesture incantation, illuminating the surroundings impeccably. Wow, Daddy, it's not dark anymore. Binger shaped her mouth into an O, her delicate little face immediately showing happiness, looking up at Lu Changsheng with admiration and awe. At home, Lu Changsheng immensely enjoyed such looks of admiration and love from his wives and children. But at this moment, the girl's gaze gave Lu Changsheng a sense of guilt, as if he was deceiving a naive girl. Stay put and don't move. Lu Changsheng spoke gently, and then launched several spirit-sealing nails, vein-calming compasses, and the mountain and river cauldron, clashing his hands for the gesture incantation, and shouted, Origin Spirit Intercept Vein Technique. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, the potent spiritual vein origin surged towards the mountain and river cauldron in the depths of the abyss. Quietly holding Lu Changsheng, Binger resembled a small cat, occasionally rubbing against him and sniffing with her little nose closed, as if Lu Changsheng's scent was particularly nice, making her feel comfortable. Lu Changsheng didn't mind this at all. After all, as immortal beauty technique, peach blossom goo and flawless heavenly fragrance body indeed had a lethal charm to others. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1172. Although he usually conceals and restrains himself, the closeness of the young girl likely has some influence on him. Time slowly passes. Daddy, Binger is sleepy. That day, Binger, the young girl, timidly whispered to Lu Changsheng, who was harvesting the spiritual vein origin. Sleepy. Lu Changsheng was startled. Although cultivators still use sleep to relax their mental, spirit, and physical body after foundation establishment and core formation, generally, if they don't wish to sleep, they can stay awake for years without feeling sleepy. However, considering her status as a corpse refinement and the peculiar situation, Lu Changsheng didn't say much and smiled. If you're sleepy, then sleep. Can't sleep, Binger said somewhat aggrievedly. CTH novel, F. Ire. Et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Lu Changsheng was speechless, wondering if he needed to tell her a bedtime story to help her sleep. But seeing the young girl's naive and innocent appearance, he patiently asked, Why can't you sleep? My body feels uncomfortable, Binger said softly, with her clear, flawless eyes appearing to have a faint greenish glow flowing within them. Lu Changsheng furrowed his brow upon hearing this, and checked the girl's physical condition while multitasking. He immediately noticed that within the chilly corpse qi flowing through her body, there seemed to be traces of demonic qi and evil qi. What's happening here? Lu Changsheng was alarmed, unsure why such conditions were manifesting in her body. He speculated that the demonic qi and evil qi pervading her body might cause some unknown transformation. Corpse transformation? The term suddenly popped into Lu Changsheng's mind. In his knowledge, corpse refinement was often sinister and eerie. Yet, despite being a corpse refinement, the young girl had no trace of sinister eeriness. Even the black yin qi flowing in her was stately and pure. However, the demonic qi and evil qi that were emerging from her body made her seem more like a true corpse refinement. How should this be handled? Lu Changsheng's eyebrows knitted together. Despite the young girl's current harmless, frail, and pitiful appearance, a single punch from her might even be more than he can handle. If she underwent a corpse transformation and became fierce and terrifying, Lu Changsheng would certainly not keep her around. Why was there no issue initially? and now this situation arises. Lu Changsheng continued to examine the girl's condition, noticing that the demonic qi and evil qi indeed originated from deep within her body. Sleepy, at that moment, as if a strike of electricity flashed through his mind, Lu Changsheng looked towards the girl's crystal coffin. Previously, she had always been sleeping inside the coffin, and thus no issues arose. Now that she's feeling sleepy, could it mean she should continue resting inside the crystal coffin? The more Lu Changsheng thought about it, the more likely it seemed, and with a slight movement of his mental spirit, the great hand of magical power grasped the crystal coffin, and he said aloud, "Binger, lie down inside here to sleep." "Daddy." The young girl seemed to fear that once she fell asleep, Lu Changsheng would no longer be there. "Daddy is always here," Lu Changsheng patiently said in a gentle voice. Upon hearing this, the young girl reassured herself and clumsily climbed into the crystal coffin, lying down inside. Lu Changsheng observed her condition and immediately noticed that the demonic qi and evil qi were being suppressed. Is that really it? It seems her condition is still unstable, or rather, this corpse hasn't been fully refined, but because of my arrival, the process was interrupted. Lu Changsheng secretly speculated, planning to take her home later and let Hong Lian check what exactly was happening with the girl. After all, he could not figure out what was wrong with her. Seeing that the girl seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep, calm and peaceful, Lu Changsheng's great hand of magical power helped to cover the lid of the outer coffin. Bang! Just as the outer lid was secured, a crackling sound was heard. Binger slightly lifted the lid of the coffin, revealing a small half of her head with her clear, flawless eyes pleadingly looking at Lu Changsheng and crying out, "Daddy, I'm here, I've always been here, rest easy now." Lu Changsheng softly responded, seeing her in such a state. "MHM, MHM." The young girl slightly nodded her small head, and then with a bang, the lid was closed again. In the abyss, silence once again prevailed. What in the world is all this? Lu Changsheng helplessly shook his head and then quietly continued to harvest the spiritual vein origin. 1 month later, Lu Changsheng almost completed the harvesting of the spiritual vein origin within the deep abyss and had filled up all the mountain and river cauldrons prepared. Crack! As a muffled sound echoed, the lid of the coffin was lifted slightly, and Binger, upon seeing Lu Changsheng still there, joyfully cried out, "Daddy, Binger, you woke up?" Lu Changsheng was somewhat surprised, as he thought she would be asleep for a long time. "MHM, MHM." The girl propped up the lid and then moved to Lu Changsheng's side, snuggling up to him like a little cat. "Whoa, don't rub against me like that." Lu Changsheng felt her soft, plump figure and spoke out. Although the young girl had the mind of a child, her body was slender and graceful, already surpassing many 17 or 18-year-old girls. Such rubbing was nothing but a provocation to Mr. Lu. But looking into her clear, immaculate eyes, Lu Changsheng felt a wave of guilt, thinking that he was a beast for having such thoughts towards a girl with only the mind of a child. Still need to temper my mind. Lu Changsheng sighed, completed the last bit of spiritual vein harvesting, and left with Binger. Naturally, he did not forget her crystal coffin, taking it along in his storage ring. He briefly examined it, finding the coffin to be an exotic treasure, solid and heavy, forged of unknown materials and filled with a cold and chilling aura. "Daddy, where are we going?" Binger, holding tightly to Lu Changsheng's arm, asked innocently. Assured that Lu Changsheng would not leave her, she no longer seemed timid and helpless-like when she just woke up, but instead displayed an innocent and cheerful demeanor. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know or report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1173. Go home and deal with some matters along the way. Lu Changsheng spoke aloud. Now that the issue with the spiritual vein origin has been resolved, he planned to head directly to Azure Phoenix, Immortal City. However, on the way there, he intended to hunt a few demon kings to give his children a physical baptism and to strengthen their foundations. Go home. Binger nodded happily, her voice clear and melodious like a spring in a secluded valley. The formation in the underground palace had been thoroughly destroyed since the spiritual vein origin was extracted by Lu Changsheng, now barely existent and about to fade away at any moment. Thus, Lu Changsheng and Binger easily left the underground palace. Daddy, such pretty flowers, daddy birds. Although Binger had the mind of a child, she could still recognize flowers and animals. On the way, she exclaimed in surprise at every plant, tree, bird, or beast she saw, looking utterly astonished. However, she showed no signs of fear towards these demon beasts, which slightly surprised Lu Changsheng. After all, in the depths of the underground palace before, she had clearly shown fear of the dark, obviously quite worried. Binger, aren't you afraid? Lu Changsheng pointed at a huge and ferocious-looking shadow wolf in the distance and asked Binger, "Why be afraid?" Binger replied with a vacant and bemused look. "Not afraid, saw the Nellfire. Inti website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality." Lu Changsheng narrowed his eyes, pointed at the shadow wolf, and said, "Go punch it." Upon hearing this, Binger immediately trotted towards the shadow. Roar! The shadow, seeing Binger approaching, immediately let out a roar, opened its fangs-filled ferocious maw, and pounced at her. "Daddy!" The girl, faced with the charging shadow, suddenly looked scared and cried out loudly to Lu Changsheng for help. But instinctively swinging her tiny fists, she knocked the oncoming shadow wolf away, killing it instantly. For a moment, Lu Changsheng didn't know how to describe the scene. "Daddy, Binger is scared." Seeing Lu Changsheng approach, Binger immediately hugged him and said in a pitiful tone, "It's okay now, it's all right." Lu Changsheng gently stroked her head, thinking to himself that her condition was slightly better than Bai Ling's, but not by much. Wanting to rely on her to help fight and hunt demon kings, especially the sun-moon resplendent butterfly, seemed rather difficult. Forget it. Let's just proceed as usual. Lu Changsheng dismissed the idea of hunting the sun-moon resplendent butterfly right then, collected the dead shadow wolf, looked at the map on the jade slip, and with Binger, flew towards Azure Phoenix, Immortal City. Screech! However, just at that moment, Lu Changsheng heard a commotion. He saw a dark shadow burst forth in the distance, emitting a screech that sent ripples through the air and charging towards him. God damn it, they're still here. Lu Changsheng hadn't expected the several demon kings that had been chasing him before to still be around. The starlight plate under his feet erupted with dazzling starlight, shooting off like a comet with a swoosh and disappearing into the sky. Roar, roar, roar. Screech, screech, screech. A chorus of screeches and roars filled the heavens and earth. Apart from the golden eagle and the gray hawk, there were now two more birds in pursuit of Lu Changsheng. And all the demon beasts in the myriad beast mountain range howled relentlessly, tracking Lu Changsheng's trace. Is this necessary? Seeing the situation, Lu Changsheng was somewhat speechless. All he did was kill a few demon kings. Did they need to pursue him so relentlessly? Moreover, from the looks of it, these demon kings must have guessed he hadn't gone far, thus blockading the area. These demon beasts are indeed quite united. Lu Changsheng thought to himself and summoned another teleportation talisman. However, the place where the transference occurred wasn't ideal. The moment he appeared, a demon beast roared at him, prompting all the beasts in the myriad beast mountain range to howl and notify the demon kings of his location. "Let's go." Lu Changsheng's mana surged, the starlight plate shone brightly, and he shot straight up towards the 9th Heavenly Gang wind layer like a comet. Then, mid-air, he crushed a teleportation talisman, instantly appearing 100 miles away, finally shaking off the tracking scent of the demon beasts. In the future, I should avoid coming to the myriad beasts mountain range. Given how vengeful the demon beasts are, they might remember me for decades, even a century. Lu Changsheng mused internally, deciding that if he were to come to the Myriad Beasts mountain range to hunt demon beasts in the future, he would avoid this area as much as possible. Otherwise, he really didn't have that many third-rank teleportation talismans to waste. Lu Changsheng, with Binger in tow, traversed across the Nine Heavens Gang wind layer. Several days later, as he was nearing Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he slowed down his pace, planning to descend and find a few demon kings and demon beasts to hunt, ending his journey through the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Just as Lu Changsheng was about to descend, he spotted a spirit boat in the distance. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yet now, the three of them were here in the Myriad Beast mountain range with a listless Li Feiyu, which was quite bizarre. Could it be? Lu Changxing looked in the direction of the four, thoughtfully, and took out the map of the Myriad Beast mountain range provided by Venerable Wuxia to compare. After a long examination, Lu Changxing lowered his gaze to Binger, who was holding onto him tightly, occasionally rubbing her little head against his chest, and gently asked, "Binger, are you sleepy?" "Daddy, not sleepy." Binger immediately lifted her little head, her clear, unblemished eyes sparkling brightly as she spoke spiritedly. "No, you are sleepy. You need to rest." Lu Changsheng pinched her cold, delicate cheek and continued. All right, Binger will go to sleep then." Upon hearing this, Binger pouted slightly but obediently complied. "Good girl." Lu Changsheng descended, released the crystal coffin, let Binger lie down in it, then closed the lid and placed the coffin back into the spiritual pet bag. While it would be all right to place the coffin directly into the storage ring, with the crystal coffin being present, the spiritual pet bag was still a safer option. Immediately, Lu Changsheng's fate-defying robe flowed with an invisible gloss. His entire being seemed to merge with the void as he stealthily pursued in the direction of the departing foursome. Though the four were far from him, with the acute perception of the Tai Chi divine soul, Lu Changsheng was still able to catch traces of lingering aura in the air and roughly discern the direction of the four. However, considering the leader in the yellow robe was a nascent soul immortal, Lu Changsheng remained very cautious and kept a safe distance. As he continued to delve deeper into the Myriad Beast mountain range, days later, Lu Changsheng saw what seemed to be a towering cliff in front of the valley. His eyes narrowed as he murmured, "Indeed, it's for this ancient relic site." Previously, Lu Changsheng had guessed that the three bringing Li Feiyu to the Myriad Beast mountain range might be related to the treasure map of the ancient relic site he had obtained from a robber cultivator in his early years. After all, Li Feiyu was just an ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator. Other than this ancient relic site, what place would warrant a true nascent soul immortal's personal visit to the Myriad Beasts mountain range? Now, seeing the terrain around him somewhat resembling that recorded on the treasure map, Lu Changsheng felt more certain about his guess. Feiyu has been working in Azure Phoenix Immortal City all this time. Now that the Azure Phoenix Immortal has disappeared and the city is under the control of White Peak Immortal. Could this yellow-robed elder be White Peak Immortal? Lu Changsheng's gaze sharpened as he pondered inwardly. In the Jiang country cultivation realm, there are not many nascent soul immortals, and most have well-known reputations. Since the major purge in Azure Phoenix Immortal City, the nascent soul immortal conspicuous in his public position is White Peak Immortal, who has challenged Azure Phoenix Immortal multiple times before. There are rumors that this White Peak Immortal is associated with U Country's immortal sex forces. He is said to be the figure U Country put forward to publicly divide the spoils of the Immortal City. Even Azure Phoenix Immortal City was renamed to White Peak Immortal City. Just that all the cultivators had gotten used to the name Azure Phoenix Immortal City, and it wasn't easy to change the habits so quickly. It was still commonly referred to as Azure Phoenix Immortal City. If this person is indeed White Peak Immortal, then it's not simple. Lu Changsheng murmured in his heart. Even though White Peak Immortal was once defeated by Azure Phoenix Immortal in 3 strikes, as a veteran core formation, now openly controlling Azure Phoenix Immortal City, certainly is out of ordinary. Trying to rescue Li Feiyu under such circumstances would not be simple. But seeing the ancient relic site right in front of him, Lu Changsheng also sped up. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1175. After all, if the 4 of them were to enter the relic site, it would not be easy for him to track them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as Lu Changsheng arrived at the valley in front of the stone wall, several dark and profound arrows, with trajectories difficult to capture, tore through the sky towards him. The nearly imperceptible sound of the arrows piercing the air also carried a faint, piercing screech, causing one's soul to ache. Even as someone with the Tai divine soul, Lu Changsheng felt a chill of unknown origin in his heart. 9 treasures Rui Bone, protective divine light. Lu Changsheng hastily activated the 9 treasures Rui Bone on his chest. Boom! In an instant, a dazzling and splendid radiance burst forth, circling around Lu Changsheng like the sun, moon, and stars, enveloping him at the center and casting him in a brilliance that made him seem like a divine being. Clang, clang, clang. A total of 9 dark black small arrows struck upon the protective divine light, with 7 of them being blocked outside by the divine light. However, 2 pierced through the thinly glistening divine light, landing behind Lu Changsheng, colliding with the light from his fate-defying robe and producing 2 sharp, piercing clangs of metal. How is this possible? Third Order Body refining. White Peak Immortal, observing secretly from afar, was shocked by this scene. It should be known that his set of 9 soul breaker arrows was a compound magical treasure, with a power comparable to top-level magical treasures. Not only did it have a break technique effect, specializing in breaking through various protective barriers, it also induced a soul-shattering effect, causing those facing the soul breaker arrow to lose their souls and become terrified with trembling mental spirits. With these 9 soul breaker arrows, he had assassinated many nascent soul cultivators. But now, not only was the other party unaffected by the soul-shattering effect, the hastily summoned protective barrier was astonishingly powerful, blocking his 7 soul breaker arrows. And the power of the last 2 soul breaker arrows was deflected by the other party's third order body, refining. Indomitable. This person is not to be underestimated. In this lightning-fast moment, Lu Changsheng also noticed the hiding place of White Peak Immortal. The other party had concealed his aura with an array device and exotic treasure, preventing Lu Changsheng from detecting it immediately. Boom! Knowing that this White Peak Immortal was no simple foe, Lu Changsheng spared no effort, his cultivation and magical power surging tumultuously within the 9 treasures Rui Bone, climbing step by step to the core formation 6th layer. He then performed the Yin-Yang Qi grasp. Yin-Yang energies intertwined to form a clearly patterned big hand with slightly curved fingers, reaching out to capture White Peak Immortal. Daoist friend, this is a misunderstanding. If you have also come for this ancient relic, I am willing to share the discovery of the relic with you. Seeing the dramatic increase in Lu Changsheng's magic aura, the corner of White Peak Immortal's eye twitched as he shouted loudly. During his words, a white golden-colored small mountain soared into the sky, bursting with vigorous magic power that continued to grow, transforming into a majestic divine mountain that crashed towards the yin-yang hand, intending to shatter it. The next instant, the yin-yang hand collided with the majestic divine mountain. Sar the Novel Fire, NE*T website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Boom! A massive mushroom cloud appeared between heaven and earth. The entire void continuously burst with thunderous roars, twisting and shattering. as expected of a seasoned, nascent soul immortal. Lu Changsheng's golden core mana surged like a torrential river, stabilizing the yin-yang great hand. Then he urged the fire golden eye. His eyes dazzled with golden radiance interwoven with fiery red runes, shooting out two beams of light, continuing the assault on White Peak Immortal. This fire golden eye not only can penetrate illusions and discern others' weaknesses, but it also possesses a certain lethal power, making it exceedingly difficult to guard against. Core Formation 6th Layer. Lu Changsheng discerned White Peak Immortal's mana cultivation level. As for the physical body, although formidable, it has not undergone third-order body refining. In an instant, his Bodhist chi blood roared and surged, his entire being ignited with a fierce and overbearing purplish-red flame, ready to rely on third-order body refining to quickly decide the battle. Boom! The chi blood and thunder gang dragon flame soared into the sky, stirring the heavens and earth. The scorching and violent blaze reflected the sky, resembling a flood dragon coiling around. Taoists, do not push things too far. If you continue to make your move, you will not only provoke the Demon King, but you might also reveal the presence of this ancient relic site. Seeing Lu Changsheng's soaring chi blood, akin to the wild physique of a Demon King, White Peak Immortal's heart was trembling as he loudly exclaimed. He could not understand how Jiang country could suddenly produce a nascent soul immortal so domineering and powerful as Lu Changsheng. Having traveled far and wide, being once compelled by Azure Phoenix Immortal to leave Jiang country to visit many cultivation nations, he did not recall any character by the name of Lu Changsheng. Moreover, even after agreeing to share the secrets of the secret realm with him, he still took such aggressive actions. Chapter 1176. The colossal force of moving mountains and overturning seas struck the wall, producing a thunderous roar that shook heaven and earth, raising waves and surges of mana aftermath upon the wall's surface. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying force without end was transferred to the ground by the earthen wall, forming layered concentric shocks, causing the earth to continuously crack and collapse with deafening sounds, and dust billowed into the air. Taoist, do you truly seek mutual destruction? White Peak Immortal's sea of consciousness was somewhat muddled. He bit his tongue hard, circulated his cultivation technique, resisted the influence of the Thousand Faces puppet fox, and shouted loudly. However, in this instant, the shadow of the endless guileful head's ghost domain had already gradually spread, covering White Peak Immortal, another false core, foundation establishment, and Li Feiyu at a distance. A massive body with bulging muscles, resembling a small hill, the dark demon corpse appeared silently behind White Peak Immortal, its fist deep as an abyss and carrying roll corpse evil chi as it hammered down thunderously. Immortal, save me. Immortal, the two people who were enveloped by the endless ghost domain cried out to White Peak Immortal. Li Feiyu, who originally had an expressionless face and seemed slightly stunned, also seemed to gradually recover consciousness, his face showing a look of horror, not knowing what was going on. All he remembered was White Peak Immortal imposing several prohibitions on him, intending to take him into the ancient relic site within the Myriad Beast mountain range, and then, through some exotic treasure, recreate the situation of that day. Third-order puppet, third-order corpse refinement. This man is simply a madman, Run. At this moment, alarm bells rang wildly in the heart of White Peak Immortal, knowing that he was no match for Lu Changsheng. If this continued, his defeat was certain. Moreover, if the battle carried on like this, surely Demon Kings would come. If both were to be left injured, it would be troublesome if the Demon King arrived. 9-colored tribulation light. Lu Changsheng, realizing that White Peak Immortal wanted to flee, immediately unleashed his killer move without any reservations. Boom, boom, boom. Brilliant and splendid divine light burst forth from the chest of Lu Changsheng, Like a cataclysm accountable for destroying all things erupted, overwhelming White Peak Immortal's divine skills together with the Thunder Gang Dragon Flame and the Dark Demon Corpse shining down upon him. Danger! In an instant, a sense of impending death enveloped White Peak Immortal's mind. His magical robe flapped, light shimmering around him, his protective spiritual shield operating at its limit. An ancient-looking jade talisman appeared in his hand, wishing to use the talisman to escape. Thinking of escaping? Yin-Yang Domain. Noticing the talisman in his opponent's hand as some kind of teleportation charm for escaping, Lu Changsheng coldly snorted. Surging, extraordinary mana erupted out, the terrifying spiritual pressure causing distortion in the space around them. Yin-Yang energies flowed around his body, spreading wildly as if both sun and moon were moving in unison, gradually forming a yin-yang Taoist chart, sealing heaven and earth. The law domain had little effect on a nascent soul cultivator of the same realm, but Lu Changsheng had a yin-yang Great Path Golden Core, making his law domain far stronger than that of ordinary people, also possessing the power to seal the heavens and earth, restricting others. At the same time, Six Desires Heart Demon Technique, Six Senses Locking Heart. In Lu Changsheng's Sea of Consciousness, the Tai Divine Soul, resembling a golden figure, was faintly visible within his brow, an invisible and formless shadow striking towards White Peak Immortal. CTH Ovalfire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Buzz. The body of White Peak Immortal suddenly stiffened, his mental spirit sinking, as if the nascent soul of Azure Phoenix Immortal had returned, reigning supreme over the world, crushing his being. No good. White Peak Immortal roared in his mind, his liver and gallbladder wanting to split apart, forcefully biting on his tongue, nearly severing it. Boom! However, by the time he broke free from the illusion, the nine-colored tribulation light and the Thunder Gang Dragon Flame had already engulfed him, his entire body shattered, his organs destroyed, life extinguished. You! Who on earth are you? The body of White Peak Immortal was charred, his flesh indistinct, his organs shattered, his voice hoarse as he spoke. He felt that Lu Changsheng before him did not come for the ancient relic site. If it were for the secret of the relic site, there was no need at all to fight against him like this. Even if Lu Changsheng's combat ability was far superior to his, he could see that Lu Changsheng, by fighting like this and using certain methods, had to pay a certain price. Paying such a price in the Myriad Beast mountain range just to kill him, it was completely nonsensical. Lu Changsheng did not speak. The Thunder Gang Dragon Flame, fierce and wild, turned the other's body to ashes. As a nascent soul immortal, the methods were extraordinary. The opponent's life was utterly extinguished, but there was still a breath of essence energy. Immortal. This. It's over. The three people within the endless ghost domain, witnessing this scene, all had expressions of horror and disbelief. Chapter 1177. Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Within the splendid palace, a woman in silver robes and purple hair, with a beautiful appearance, sat cross-legged. Suddenly, she opened her eyes wide, an incredible surge of mana erupting from her. How is this possible? She gently lifted her fair hand, staring at the soul plate in her hand covered in cracks. Her expression changed drastically, her eyes filled with surprise, suspicion, and disbelief. She then transformed into a streak of rainbow light, shooting out and arriving in front of a grand hall on Qinghuan Peak, inquiring about the condition of White Peak Immortal. Upon confirming that White Peak Immortal was not there and had gone out with someone, her beautiful face suddenly turned extremely ugly, her purple pupils flashing with shades of worry and fear. White Peak had been at core formation for hundreds of years, with profound foundations. How could he suddenly fall? Could it be that White Peak wanted to fake his death, to take the opportunity to break away from the control of the Purple Light sect. No, White Peak has not yet obtained what he wants. Even if he breaks away from the control of the Purple Light sect, it would be meaningless. Sitting in Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he might still have a chance to break through the late stage of core formation. The silver-robed woman's face went from cloudy to clear, still unwilling to believe the fact of White Peak Immortal's death. If White Peak is not feigning death, but was killed by someone or encountered some accident, the silver-robed woman clenched her hands tightly, her expression somber, then immediately went to the core of the Immortal City, taking charge of the Third Order Forbidden Formation in case someone took the opportunity to cause trouble in the city. At the same time, she crushed one transmission Jade Talisman after another. Half a month later, several streaks of rainbow light arrived at the ancient relic site in the Myriad Beasts mountain range. They all exuded mana, spiritual pressure of the core formation level, extremely terrifying. Indeed, there are signs of magical combat. It seems White Peak must have fallen here. This trace, it must have been done by cultivators. White Peak was no ordinary strength, and ordinary cultivators in the late stage of core formation would have found it difficult to kill him. Yet now he has died here. Could it be that White Peak encountered danger within the relics? Hence he was ambushed opportunistically? The few people stared at the sunken ground before them, filled with cracks and scorched black, with extremely solemn expressions. Even though they were all of formidable strength, they did not dare to say that they could triumph over White Peak Immortal. This is corpse energy. Could it be from a heavenly corpse sect, the aura of the Dark Demon Corpse? At this moment, a core formation cultivator walked over to inspect the ground, catching a familiar trace of corpse energy, and spoke out. No, it's not just a single type of corpse energy. Besides the Dark Demon Corpse, there's also another strange and sinister type of corpse energy. This aura is richer than the Dark Demon Corpse. Moreover, there should also be a young, powerful, and somewhat thunderous flame divine skill. Another person executed divine skills, using magic treasures to investigate the situation, making analytical judgments. The Dark Demon Corpse, could it be that the brats from the Heavenly Corpse sect joined forces with others to kill White Peak Immortal? Instantly, someone spoke, their expression sharp and filled with a cold, murderous intent. We can't rule out this possibility. Years ago, the sect hierarch of the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Five Poisons cult leader wanted to take action. Now with Azure Phoenix Immortal missing, they might see Azure Phoenix Immortal City as a breakthrough point. These demon brats are courting death. These two corpse energies and flame divine skills should not come from the same person, at least two people. However, they managed to kill White Peak. Their strength and methods are not simple. The spirit-taming sect had a cultivator at the late stage of core formation emerge not long ago, causing an uproar in the Myriad Beast mountain range, almost triggering a beast tide. Could they also be related to these demon path? After inspecting the scene, the few people discussed in turn. These demon brats are really rampant. I will report this matter to the true monarch, and make sure these demon brats will not return. A white-clothed core formation cultivator with an imposing air, like an unparalleled heavenly sword, said coldly. Even though White Peak Immortal was not closely related to their heavenly sword sect. But in the past 2 years, Jiang country had seen repeated troubles caused by the demon path, which was a provocation to the majesty of their heavenly sword sect. After discussing the matter of White Peak Immortal, the people then turned their attention to the heavenly stone wall in front of the valley. From prior news, they knew that White Peak Immortal had come to the Myriad Beasts mountain range for this ancient relic site. And before Azure Phoenix Immortal left the Immortal City, he had explored this ancient relic site. Myriad Beasts mountain range, within a newly opened underground cave mansion. Phew! Lu Changsheng opened his eyes and exhaled a long breath of turbid energy, feeling that his condition had recovered quite a bit. He slightly raised his palm, and White Peak Immortal's storage ring appeared in his hand. He had checked the storage ring for suspicious items right away and had not yet conducted a detailed investigation. Now that his essence, chi, and spirit had recovered, it was naturally time for the enjoyable part of reaping the rewards. This person, as a veteran core formation cultivator, actually has 3 magic treasures. These 9 small arrows, if it wasn't for my awakening of the Tai soul body with the Tai divine soul, I would have almost been hit at that time. Although this small mountain is a life-bound magic treasure, after reforging it and mixing in some refining crystal, it will be very good for smashing people. Lu Changsheng examined the 9 dark black small arrows and a fist-sized white gold miniature mountain in his hand. He had witnessed the power of these 2 magical treasures, especially the 9 dark black small arrows, which could kill without a trace and were shocking to the soul, making them extremely difficult to defend against. As for the small white gold mountain, it was firm and heavy, with offensive and defensive abilities, its power comparable to a superior quality treasure. Saw the novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Although it was White Peak Immortal's life-bound magic treasure, and he could only unleash part of its power. With his third-order body refining, he could employ a simplistic method to make this magical treasure catch the opponent off guard during a fight. Mainly because he, as a core formation immortal, did not yet have an offensive magical treasure and could only rely on brute force divine skills in combat. If it were not for having the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus as his second Dantian, enduring such consumption would be truly unbearable, resulting in being weak and burdened after each fight, requiring a long time to recuperate and cultivate. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1178. As for the third magical treasure of White Peak Immortal, it was an escape artifact. This magical treasure was also prepared by White Peak Immortal for himself. Since Lu Changsheng owned the Starlight Plate, he did not need it. Moreover, Lu Changsheng planned to craft a pair of flying wing magical treasures for himself after returning, using the wings of the Wind Thunderhound and the feathers of the Fire Phoenix-tailed Sparrow. In this way, his speed when escaping danger could be improved to another level. Originally, White Peak Immortal also had a 4th magical robe, which was the yellow robe he wore. But under the relentless onslaught of Lu Changsheng's 9-colored tribulation light, Thunder Gang Dragon Flame, the Endless Ghost Domain, and the Dark Demon Corpse, this magical robe was directly damaged. Besides the 3 magical treasures, Lu Changsheng also saw a spiritual spring in White Peak Immortal storage ring. Then, in terms of spirit stones, it was an eye-opener for Lu Changsheng. He did a quick calculation. 112 superior grade spirit stones, 1,724 middle grade spirit stones, 35,261 lower grade spirit stones. This was the first time Lu Changsheng had seen so many spirit stones. Even at his wealthiest, he only had a little over 300,000 spirit stones on him. Compared with a nascent soul immortal, a demon king is simply a pauper. Lu Changsheng couldn't help but remark. Although the cave mansion of a 3rd-rank demon king may contain heavenly and earthly treasures, their value would not be very high. Generally, spiritual flowers and unusual fruits and rare spiritual medicines would have been consumed by the demon king early on. What remained were mostly growing spirit ores and spirit plants that were either still maturing or inedible. But unless there are some rare heavenly and earthly treasures or heaven and earth spiritual plants, they aren't really worth much. Therefore, the most valuable thing about a demon king is itself, its flesh, bones, and demon core, all of which have high value. Lu Changsheng looked at the storage ring, continuing to clean up and inventory various heaven and earth spiritual materials and rare spiritual medicines he found, as well as 2 core formation spiritual objects. Although core formation spiritual objects were of no use to a nascent soul cultivator. But if willing to sell them, countless foundation establishment cultivators would be ready to serve. Moreover, Lu Changsheng had many wives, concubines, children, and so on at home, so there was always a great demand for foundation establishment spirit objects and core formation spiritual objects. TSK, TSK, TSK. This haul is a big win. No, it's a huge profit. It's way more lucrative than killing a demon king. Lu Changsheng counted the items one by one, his face showing a hint of a smile. Search * the novel, F. Ire. At website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. What is this? At this moment, Lu Changsheng saw a plain and unadorned bead that felt heavy and cold in his hand. After examining it for a moment, he guessed it must be an exotic treasure. He tried to activate it with his mana. The black bead immediately began flowing with ripples, displaying a pale, silvery sheen. As Lu Changsheng held the silver glittering stone bead in his palm, it reflected light in all directions. The scenery around him became incredibly clear, even as if to see through the cave's formation stone walls and look outside. This exotic treasure possesses an effect somewhat similar to the fire golden eye, being able to pierce through illusions. It must have been forged from the eye of some kind of demon beast. Previously, after killing the golden-eyed fire ape, Lu Changsheng had thought about turning its eyeballs into a spiritual artifact capable of discerning falsehoods. Because his family was about to establish a business association, they needed such a treasure. Now that he had this stone bead, it saved him some effort. He continued to operate the exotic treasure to test whether the effect of this eyeball was stronger or weaker than his fire golden eye. The black bead's silver radiance flowed, and in this moment, the pupils seemed to be on the verge of opening, reviving with vitality. However, at this time, operating the eyeball not only required mana, but also chi blood and essence energy to truly revive its power. Buzz! Without hesitation, Lu Changsheng channeled his own chi blood into the eyeball. Suddenly, the pupil vibrated, runes interweaved and flowed, forming a golden beam of light with the silver sheen, piercing through the distant stone wall and causing the stone wall to crack, while the small reverse 5 elements arrays spiritual light flickered. Not bad in terms of effect, but the upper limit is a bit low. Lu Changsheng shook his head in some regret. The original owner of this eyeball must have been quite extraordinary, more powerful than the golden-eyed fire ape. However, the person who forged this stone bead into an exotic treasure might have done so for a junior member of their family, or for some other reason. As a result, even a foundation establishment cultivator could use it, but this caused the power limit to be far less than that of his fire golden eye. However, it's still good as an exotic treasure. It just so happens that my family can use it. If it were a magical treasure, my family wouldn't be able to utilize this eyeball. After pondering briefly, Lu Changsheng understood that turning such an eyeball into a magical treasure would be very difficult and troublesome. It would require many auxiliary materials, and the effect might not be ideal. Ho, ho, ho. Suddenly, the hair of the endless guileful head whipped wildly, its jet-black eyes like two black holes, stealing one's soul, as fragments of memories emerged before Lu Changsheng. This process was somewhat similar to that of the abyssal ghoul blossom. Memories were chaotic fragments. Many memory details had been lost during the erosion process of the endless guileful head, and finding useful information required a powerful divine sense and sufficient patience. After a long while, Lu Changsheng obtained some useful information from the memory fragments of the two. Both of them were subordinates of the Azure Phoenix Immortal, having entered the Myriad Beasts Mountain Range ancient relic site before. However, they were unclear about the core area of the relic site, as only Li Feiyu and Azure Phoenix Immortal had entered it. Based on their earlier explorations and surveys with the Azure Phoenix Immortal, this relic was likely to be the ruins of an ancient sect or its sanctuary, treasury, filled with many rare spiritual objects. The departure of Azure Phoenix Immortal from the Azure Phoenix Immortal City had a significant connection to the gains from these ancient relics. Suspected of obtaining the infant transformation elixir behind White Peak Immortal was suspected to be the Purple Light sect of Country. The forces that divided the interests of the Azure Phoenix Immortal City, apart from the Purple Light sect of Country, included the Spirit Taming sect of Xianxia, as well as several immortal sect-affiliated commercial guilds and powers. After all, it does not look good for the immortal sects to be directly involved in such matters, so they would act through spokespeople and affiliated powers. I did not expect this relic to be so complicated, Lu Changsheng muttered to himself, understanding why White Peak Immortal went through such great lengths. However, he had no intention of exploring this relic. One reason was that it required a specific token or memento. He did not possess this token or memento. Secondly, the relic was incredibly dangerous. Indeed, Azure Phoenix Immortal likely sustained injuries in this secret realm, suffering many casualties in the process. Immediately after, Lu Changsheng looked towards his good friend Li Feiyu. He had previously checked on him and knew that his friend had endured many tortures and had suffered to his core. Just now, through the memories of the two, he was even clearer about the tortures Li Feiyu had faced over the past year. Healing divine light, Lu Changsheng took a deep breath, circulating his life-bound treasured bone, and from his chest burst forth a dazzling life divine light, enveloping Li Feiyu. HNG. Under the surging vast essence, energy, and mana, Li Feiyu let out a muffled hum from his mouth, coughing up a mouthful of congestion, while the internal injuries in his body visibly healed at a visible speed to the naked eye. Buzz. Chapter 1180. In an instant, Lu Changsheng realized that there was an invisible barrier in Li Feiyu's mind, as if breaking through it would scatter his soul. This is spiritual soul prohibition. Lu Changsheng immediately knew what was happening. This was a prohibition placed by Azure Phoenix Immortal on Li Feiyu's sea of consciousness, to prevent anyone from using soul-searching techniques on him. This technique was extremely exquisite and sophisticated. Had it not been for Lu Changsheng awakening the Tai Chi soul body, his divine sense surpassing that of an ordinary core formation peak, he wouldn't dare to act recklessly at this moment. I only need to modify some of his short-term memories recently. There shouldn't be any problems. Lu Changsheng's expression tensed as a golden figure emerged from his brow's sea of consciousness, sending out a beam of soul light that pierced directly into Li Feiyu's sea of consciousness. Then he tried to modify his recent memories to those of the four people entering the ancient relic site. But as he did, he triggered a prohibition and was enveloped by a splendid divine light. Within it, the Foundation establishment man was annihilated by the beam, while Lu Changsheng was healed by it and subsequently fell into unconsciousness. After a while, Lu Changsheng opened his eyes, exhaled a breath of turbid energy, and carried Li Feiyu out of the cave, arriving outside the Myriad Beasts mountain range. He then placed the storage bag of the Foundation establishment man into Li Feiyu's hand. The latter was in a dire situation, without a storage bag and naturally without any elixir medicines or magic artifacts. Under such circumstances, encountering any danger might spell his end. Therefore, after Lu Changsheng simply cleared out the Foundation establishment man's storage bag and took away the core formation spiritual objects, he left a few talismans inside, giving Li Feiyu a set of initial equipment. As for what the other party intended to do next, it was up to him to choose. After everything was done, Lu Changsheng's fate-defying robe shimmered with an invisible luster, blending him in with the void. Roughly a quarter of an hour later, Li Feiyu, who was lying on the ground, opened his eyes and cautiously said, where am I? My injuries have healed. He looked at his own body, his expression filled with surprise and joy. However, when he saw the storage bag in his hand, his expression immediately turned to one of shock and bewilderment. Isn't this Zhao Weiss' storage bag? How did it end up in my hands? Wait a second. When entering the secret realm, it seems like a prohibition appeared. He turned to ash, and I inadvertently touched his storage bag. Li Feiyu touched his somewhat groggy head, feeling this memory to be very vague. After pondering for a moment, he didn't pay too much attention to it. He simply thought it to be White Peak Immortal's doing, damaging his divine sense and causing fragmented memories. He surveyed his surroundings, and with fluctuating expressions, he mused, "Although I have luckily escaped with my life, if White Peak Immortal didn't obtain anything in the relic, he will certainly come looking for me. I definitely can't go back to Azure Phoenix Immortal City. No, under these circumstances, I can't stay in the Jiang Country Cultivation realm either." Li Feiyu's expression was grave, muttering to himself, knowing that he best not stay in the Jiang Country Cultivation realm. As for returning to Rui Prefecture, Bihu Lake Mountain, he did not even consider it. In his current state, if he returned and White Peak Immortal became aware of it, it would surely bring endless trouble. He checked the storage bag with his divine sense and found several spiritual artifacts and immediately changed into a magical robe. Then, he altered his appearance and concealed his aura, transforming into an escape light, and hurriedly left. Sigh. Lu Changxing watched the departing Li Feiyu and sighed. He had been fully focused on Li Feiyu's emotions with his divine sense. Although he wasn't able to completely grasp the other's thoughts and ideas, he roughly perceived a portion of his intentions. Li Feiyu had not given up on struggling in the outside world, nor in the idea of returning to Rui Prefecture. However, with Feiyu's temperament, he wouldn't choose to go back under these circumstances. Lu Changsheng murmured to himself. In truth, he had long understood that Li Feiyu's reluctance to return home stemmed not only from an unwillingness to lead an ordinary life, but also from a concern about bringing trouble home. After all, there are no lack of unscrupulous people in the cultivation world. And now that such an incident has occurred, it is even less likely that Li Feiyu would return. The world is like the tide, people are like water, only lamenting how few return to the rivers and lakes. Lu Changsheng sighed softly, retracted his gaze, and looked towards the direction of Azure Phoenix Immortal City, murmuring to himself, "Now that White Peak Immortal is dead, the situation in Azure Phoenix Immortal City must be quite chaotic." After pondering for a moment, he gave up the idea of going to the Immortal City to fence his goods and make purchases. After all, White Peak Immortal had been in charge of Azure Phoenix Immortal City, which involved the power struggle between the upper echelons of Yu Country and Jiang Country, as well as the interests of the Purple Light Sect. Now that White Peak Immortal is dead, the Purple Light Sect will surely send people to Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Although he had been very careful, who knew whether these sects possessed some kind of method. Thus, it was best to avoid going there as much as possible. Given that the Immortal City had a third-order forbidden formation, if he faced danger upon entering the city, Lu Changsheng was not confident in his ability to cope. Since that's the case, let's go home. Lu Changsheng looked at the 2 storage rings in his hand, a smile appearing on his face. The gains from this trip out could no longer be described as simply substantial. If he were to rely solely on his family's business, even after 100 years, he would not earn as much. Furthermore, heaven and earth spiritual plants, spiritual vein origins, third-order demon pills, and top-grade magical treasures rarely circulated on the market for sale for spirit stones. Mostly, they were privately traded among nascent soul immortals, exchanging goods for goods, making it difficult to measure their value. CTH Novel Fire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Right, I also have a daughter. Lu Changsheng thought of Binger, who was still inside his spiritual pet bag. He immediately took out the crystal coffin and tapped on it. Bang! Instantly, the lid of the coffin was lifted and a burst of icy cold air spilled out. Binger poked her little head out, her clear, flawless eyes looking at Lu Changsheng with joy, exclaiming, "Daddy, I'm all rested." "Good. Now that you're rested, Daddy will take you home," Lu Changsheng said with a smile, knowing that she had been awake for a while, but since he hadn't called her, she obediently stayed put. Hearing this, Binger immediately jumped out of the crystal coffin, affectionately clung to Lu Changsheng, gently rubbing her little head against him, eyes slightly squinted, and a look of comfortable enjoyment on her face. Lu Changsheng fondly rubbed her little head and looked towards the myriad beasts' mountain range, slowly flying away. While he was indeed going home, he had only slain 4 demon kings so far. The essence, blood, and soul of the golden-eyed fire ape had been used by him to awaken his Tai soul body. The remaining 3 demon kings, in his view, were still lacking. He was hoping to gather 1 or 2 more. So, if any demon king carelessly sought trouble with him, he wouldn't mind slaying 1 or 2 more. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning into the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.